directing traffic. Gonna go deep. Has a man deep. It is caught for the touchdown. Corey Davis.
If he has good technique, he will be healing. If his technique becomes great, not just good, then he's a Hall of Fame. Drive face, full cell vertical, get into the blind spot, and he absolutely burns her. Corner is lost. He literally has no idea where Wilson is. Long, fast, how he approaches the game, how dedicated he is to football. He's ridiculously good. You have to be ecstatic. This is actual film. This is actual football talk. It's a football show. Should talk football, not storylines.
And you are listening to another edition of Blewett's Blitz. I see some people in the chat. I'm going to say hello to you. I, at this moment, have a puppy on my lap because my wife is not home yet. So if you hear me trying to adjust the little guy on my lap, then that is what it is. But sorry, the show was moved back. That's why. Unfortunately, dogs like to bite a lot of things and go crazy, especially when they're only 12 weeks old. So what is up? Why so late? JR, that is why. This guy right here, let's see if we can see him in. But there he is. He'll be gone in a couple minutes. I'm surprised he's not showing on my wire right now, but he'll say hello. So what is up? Let me see. I'm trying to organize my notes a little bit better, but since I have a guy on my lap, it's a little bit more difficult, but he's a little bit tired right now. So obviously, congratulations to Rangers fans. Who are out there. I'm not a Rangers hater. Some people think I'm a Rangers hater, but I'm a Devils fan. And really the only reason I hate the Rangers is because I know some of their fans are Knicks fans. I don't like Knicks fans. That's about all it is. The Mets are blazing hot right now. Minus today, they scored 72 runs in the last 8 games for an average of 9 runs. I heard that I think I locked on Mets. And they've been killing it offensively. So that's fun to watch. So if you're a Mets fan, congrats. Even if you're a Yankees fan, the Yankees right now are in first place. I believe they're tied with the Dodgers. Mets are in third. So New York sports are killing it. Guardians, or not the Guardians. Yeah, Guardians or Generals are in first place. So a lot of good stuff going on right now. Hope you guys enjoyed your Memorial Day weekend. For me, obviously doing my job, it's a lot more busy on Memorial Day weekend. So I did not enjoy it. I worked a lot, but nice and busy, just like I like it. Other than that, what else is going on? Amber Heard. I don't know if you guys were up on that at all. I didn't really follow it a lot, and then I started hearing about it, and some of those things are crazy. Like she's editing pictures, and they clearly could tell that it was editing software was used based on how it's saved in the phone. So that's always a good time. What else happened over this last week? Kyle did a live stream for like an hour by himself, and you guys were pretty respectful, so I appreciate that. Zach Wilson, Dan Feeney, Uzama seemed to enjoy their Memorial Day weekend. Obviously with a bunch of just dime pieces, which congratulations to them. And I think Wilson's single now, so congrats, because 22 years old playing quarterback for the New York Jets, I'm sure it is not hard to find for him. So I'm sure he enjoys that. And then in terms of some of the stuff that's upcoming, I have the Brees Hall review. I'm recording that tomorrow, so it should be out in the next couple of days. Also have the Ruckert and Wilson reviews right after that. I'm watching. I think I have 5 more games of those guys to watch, and I actually have to record it. So I think I'm going to do Wilson with Marcus Coleman as well. So let's see what's going on in the chat. Eagles in here before. Obviously, jet up from Alexander Hunt. What's the over-under for if they will start on time? Well, 1, it's just me. And 2, I'm usually on time. You just want to chill. I'm trying to pick him up a little bit, but he's trying to sleep already. It's only 8 o'clock, so that could be a problem later. Let's keep going down in the chat. Chris, and I have some topics. I'm going to talk about George Fant, talk about Mims a little bit, Jermaine Johnson, some things that came out about, I think, Sauce Gardner. There were some quotes about him from DJ Reed and also from Saleh. There were some questions about Fant and maybe him getting a contract extension. I want to talk about that in a little bit. But again, solo. The Wednesday shows are solo. Every other Wednesday, I'm doing a show solo. And then every other Thursday, I'm doing it with Kyle Smith. Again, we'll have Marcus on one of these soon. We'll have Robbie Sabo. We'll also have Nani on them on here too. I need to get their opinions on the offseason and stuff as well. But I don't know why I pulled this up and talk about that. Why is Eagle facing 86 allowed to post here? I'm not sure what that means. Verge, what's up, man? Appreciate you always being in here. MB99, hey, let's go, Joe. Finally here for the start. Big supporter of MB99. I appreciate that, and I'm thankful that you're here from the start as well. Again, sorry that I'm sure you guys aren't too mad that there's a puppy here, but he's being a lot better than I thought he was. I'm surprised my earphones are not ripped out already. And with that being said, he's going to start doing it. but he's been a psychopath. He's definitely gotten more comfortable the last week because he's about we've had him for about 10 days, and the last couple of days, puppy's testy, man. So I don't care about the earphones. I know that's gonna happen. There's no way I'm stopping that right now. What's up, Build? What's up, Assassin Cartman? What's up, JR? Why so late? It's because of the dog. There's no way I could do a 2-hour live stream with this dog because he would shit on my lap. He has to go piss all the time. What's up, Nick? What's up, Alex? What's up, Girth Brooks? What's up, man? Been a little bit. You changed your picture. You used to have it wasn't like a freaking like some kind of green dude, right? My guy Joey Breakdowns. What up, brother? Appreciate you, Murdog. It's on a show without Murdog saying what's up, Joey Breakdowns. Appreciate that. Appreciate you being here again. Obviously, this chat, you guys know, you guys completely run this one. Again, I have some side topics I'll get to if it gets a little bit dry, but you guys run this entire show, and I talk about literally whatever you want to talk about. I don't care if it's football, freaking baseball, hockey, whatever you guys want to discuss, we could discuss it. So, and honestly, too, like I see some. I'm not really the most active guy on Twitter. I'll post my stuff and get out of there. But when I see stuff in passing on Twitter, I try to bring it up to you guys because I'm not really sure what you've seen. But there's probably topics that you guys have that you've heard been talked about that I don't even know that are going on because I'm not really on Twitter as much. So if you guys have topics that you guys feel I should address that I haven't addressed, then let me know and we'll talk about that. Scott Wilson, what's up? I'm a Raiders hater. All right. Yeah. I don't hate the Raiders. I don't know why. Why do you hate the Raiders, John? The Jets have had relative success against the Raiders, at least since I've been watching. So I don't really hate the Raiders for any reason, minus my friend who's a shit talking Raiders fan, but he's cool. Amber Turd, yeah, dude, so bad from both. Like obviously you're gonna have some issues when your guys are both when they're partying and living a Hollywood lifestyle, etc. But and coked out at the same time. But she was lying about a lot of stuff. It is fun to watch her get caught right in the middle of lies that she literally cannot deny. The whole thing about the donation she lied about, and the whole picture editing. Oh, that picture was taken at nighttime and really was at daytime or whatever. And it was like photo edit or Photoshop 2.0 or whatever it was instead of the Apple thing. Kyle should do half shows more often to give you a break and showcase his skills, smarts. Yeah, Kyle's great, man. I've known Kyle for a while. Like I said, when he did his podcast about the AFC East, it was really good. It was really good, and that's how we connected. And I was on there a little bit with him, and ever since then we've been friends and podcasting and stuff. But yeah, Kyle could always do a show. Kyle's a part of JetX, so Kyle could do whatever he wants. Adam J. Parnes, what's your player comp for Sauce in terms of his style, in terms of what he will become? And Adam J. Parnes, I know you got that. I believe that you're the one who sent the Twitter question last week. I didn't get to it, or which I didn't get to. That's in my topics, either for this week or for next week. In terms of Sauce, I think you're asking about Surtain and what's his face and JC Horn and that stuff. So get out of here. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. And I don't really love player comps because every player is so different. Like people will just compare a player just because of their size, just because of their tenacity, just because of them playing in cover 3 versus cover 4, cover 1, or cover 2 a little bit more often. I don't necessarily love comps because there's not one guy I found like, oh yeah, they're right on the money. There's thousands of different techniques and thousands of different weaknesses or strengths a guy can have. So the chance of them matching on a lot of them is slim to none for me. So I don't really give them out a lot, but and I'd have to watch more guys because a lot of people say Sherman, a faster, more athletic Sherman, but they didn't really play in man coverage. So you obviously have heard the Cromartie comp too, which I think is probably a little bit better because I think he's a little bit more skinny like Cromartie and runs fast like Cromartie. Cromartie's a lot faster than a Sherman. But with that being said, I think that he's also more physical than a Cromartie, and I also think that he gets in and out of his breaks and is a little bit more smooth than Cromartie and is able to stay square at the line of scrimmage more than Cromartie. Cromartie opened up and really kind of make up that ground on that break and give some guys some cushions he necessarily shouldn't, where Sauce isn't really going to do that as much. So I guess a more aggressive, technically sound Cromartie with a little bit better movement skills, which again, we're putting all these like Cromartie, but this, but that. So I don't really love those comps. But hold on, let's see. Okay, the one earphone came out. Any Becton news? Didn't see. Actually, I can just drop these. Let's see. I didn't see any Becton news. The only thing I heard, I think there's a quote from Saleh in terms of him being really or ready to go. But again, when you're asked about that stuff, unless they want to send a message to the media, what else are they going to say? And I don't think they want to get into that area right now, especially when he just had a kid. So it's Snoopy, Joe the Goat. What's up? What's up, Snoopy? Appreciate that. So far so good with Sauce. Can't wait to see some footage of him. Yeah, I'm really excited to just watch him preseason, week 1, week 2, week 3, whatever it may be. And obviously go watch the review. I did a 2-hour and 5-minute review on Sauce, so go watch that for obviously an in-depth breakdown. Some plays can take 3, 4, or 5 minutes. Some plays can take 30 seconds, but it's obviously a good source to be able to learn about your players. Roland Ello, what's up, Joe? What's up, Roland? Can we talk about how good this defensive line could potentially be? AZ Jets. I think it could be really good. I think last year, before he's tired now, before the season, we were talking about it being a top 10 group that can potentially sneak into the top 5. And all it did from that point was add a first-round pick in Jermaine Johnson. Obviously, Vinny Curry's returning, so that's great. You have Huff, who's returning, that's great. But you're basically adding a healthy team. You're getting Carl Lawson back. You're getting Jacob Martin. You're getting JJ, like I said. You're getting Michael Clemens. They might add Ogunjobi. So I think this defensive line could, and it depends on how you quantify it, because I think their pass rushing defensive, it could be a top 5 pass rushing defensive line. Is it going to be same in terms of the run game? I don't think so. I think they're going to struggle a little bit more in the run game. So how do you quantify it? I think this should be a top 10 unit at the minimum. At the point where you're getting, you have JFM having a 14, whatever the hell it is, $1 million contract per year. When you have Q, who's a top 5 pick, when you have Carl Lawson, which is a big signing, when you have a first round pick in JJ, when you have Josh Martin or Jacob Martin, who's a mid-tier free agent signing, maybe a little bit lower than mid-tier. When you have that, when you have Vinny Curry, when you have Michael Clemens, who's a 4th round pick, like how many resources are you going to pour into that position and have it not be strong? So it has to be. It's like, while it's great that, they could be top 5, they should be top 10. If they're not, that's a problem because of all the resources poured into it. And we're going to talk about Ulbrich in a little bit in terms of what he is talking about in terms of actually, hold on. Give me just a second. Hold on. All right, I got rid of the dog. Now I can move a little bit more freely. I got steaks here and a bunch of chew toys and shit trying to distract him. But let's get into it now. Now I can move a little bit. But yeah, this should be a top 10 group. I think Quinnen Williams taking that next step to being a top 5 guy is huge for them. I think even if you get Carl Lawson back at, if he's 85, 90% of what we thought he was before the Achilles tear, you're looking at what should be a guy who's getting, and again, stats hate it, but a guy who should get at least 8 to 10, maybe 12 sacks. With that being said, how much is he going to play in terms of the rotation? So you have 2 guys there. Rankins, I think, took a little bit of a step back last year, hopefully after being healthy for like a whole season and a half-ish, that he should take steps in the right direction in terms of being a little bit more effective on a consistent snap-to-snap basis. Jonathan Marshall, how does he develop as a late round pick? Does he continue to develop and really build upon that crazy athleticism that he has? Yet to be seen. Is Vinny Curry coming back? There's people talking about Vinny Curry not making the team. I don't agree with that. To me, Vinny Curry is a very consistent and effective edge rusher, especially in a limited role, which he has a benefit of being in that limited role. On the Jets defensive line, Martin is a guy, again, who I like a lot more than other people. I think he's one of the more underrated and less talked about signings that people should talk about more. Now, I get not talking about him a lot because, listen, he's going to, he's a backup defensive end, but I think he's better than some people think he is. And again, in that short or in that lesser role because of how rested you're going to be able to keep him. So sorry. Let's see. You see the article in Bears Media coveting Mims. They want to give us a 7th for him. Yeah, I'm not giving up on Mims for a 7th. They were talking about a 4th round pick, a 5th round pick. Okay, it's a discussion. There's been a lot of positivity out about Mims. Now, with that positivity, is that because they're actually happy about his progress, or are they maybe hyping him up a little bit in the media to get him for a 4th or a 5th round pick? Again, some people might think that, getting a 4th round pick for Mims might be crazy, but the Jets got what? They traded Herndon and a 6th for a 4th. Could the Jets do something like that with Mims? Maybe. Or is it that they're actually happy with his progress? Because you had Saleh come out, or he came out today and gave, again, credited Mims with being a little bit more, I guess, looking good or looking better this offseason and through OTA so far. So is that true? Can it actually happen? What's the percentage chance? I think at this point, if we're being realistic, 20-25% chance is probably where I fall in terms of the percentage chance that he'll be like an actual role player, somebody who can contribute to the team. Even if it's just 300 yards, like even if we just get 300 yards, not even 5 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns from Mims, and make him, which makes him like the 4th or 5th guy on the team, that'd be great because a lot of people aren't expecting anything for him right now. So if you can just be a solid 3rd, 4th receiver in the league for a 2nd round pick, yeah, disappointing. But for what he showed in year 2, if he could be a 400-yard guy, are we really going to, like, would you guys take that? Like, is that a poll? If you could sign up right now for Mims, I don't know what 40 catches, 30 catches, 425 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Would you sign the dotted line right now? Like, being realistic. Again, there's people like, no, he's going to be a number 1 and he's going to get 800 yards. Obviously, you have to factor in the fact that you have Tyler Conklin, you have Uzama, you have Wilson, you have Moore, you have Davis. Like, for him, and you have Barrios. Honestly, 400 yards would be a good number. I think that's probably high, considering he would be at least the 5th, 6th, 7th option at best, because you're going to have Barrios who's going to be top of him. You have 4 receivers on top of him. You have 2 tight ends. That's obviously 6 guys right there. 6 guys right there. And then I would say that you should even have Michael Carter and Breece Hall above him. So we see that 7th option. If he can get 300, 400 yards as 7th option and just show that he could actually be a role player on this team and be a red zone guy and a jump ball guy, okay, cool. Like, that's fine. Get him in the red zone on jump balls, because I would take him over pretty much anybody on the Jets. I think in terms of jump balls in the red zone right now, your 2 best guys on this offense, again, in my opinion, would be probably, people are going to assume the tight ends, neither of them are big contested to catch guys. Like, you'll see some flashes of Conklin do it, but not consistently enough in the red zone. So I would say Garrett Wilson, because of his ability to catch the ball outside of his frame and his leaping ability, and then Mims. Uzama's not a big jump ball guy. Corey Davis isn't a big jump ball guy unless it's across the middle, which is different than getting vertical on a fade or a 9. And then obviously Elijah Moore is not the guy. You're right. You're not going to ask him to do that. So I would say that, on those sets within that 10, 15 yards of a touchdown, you put Mims in, you put Garrett Wilson in, and you let those guys get at least threaten the fade, So let's see. I don't know what that means. Alexander Hunt, Raiders took our Fitzmagic years ago. Maybe that's why. Did the Raiders ever have Fitzpatrick on their team? I don't think so, Alex Hunt, to be completely honest. I could be wrong. But did they? Or I don't remember him playing there, to be completely honest. Mims should be a 4th in terms of his trade compensation, to be honest. If let's say Mims was on the Cardinals, right? Let's say Mims was on the Vikings. Let's say Mims was on whatever team that we're not going to pay attention to as much as the Jets. So every other team, every 31 other teams, maybe minus the AFC East teams. If I saw his production, what he did, 4th round pick, I would probably be a little bit disappointed as another fan. Like, I would get the upside, but I think his value is probably about a 5th right now. If they can get a 4th, okay. I trust Joe Douglas. Would I like to wait for Mims and see what he could potentially, see if he can make that next leap? Yes, I do. But at the same point, with that being said, you're risking him completely failing this season. Like, listen, if let's say right now the Bears came to you, because somebody mentioned the Bears before. Somebody from the Bears mentioned or came to you and said, okay, Mims in a 7th for a 4th round pick, and the Jets said, no, we want to see what he is. And then throughout the year, he gets another 8, 9, 10 catches and doesn't get any touchdowns, gets 1, 2 touchdowns, and doesn't really prove much. Then that goes to a 6th, and then you just lost out on a 4th round pick. So do you do it? Do you not do it? Like, what are you guys thinking? And again, I know we're Jets. Oh, which, by the way, sorry, I didn't wear this before because I thought my dog was going to bite it, and I'll figure it out how to make it a little bit cleaner. I'll get like a cleaner clasp for it. Obviously, I'm kind of just fucking around, but I gotta throw on. So I got the sauce chain, right? We know. Hold on, can I see this in here? Hold on. So we got the sauce chain, but now there's a Frank's Red Hot sauce bottle on the bottom of it. I'm just being stupid, obviously, but I'm gonna wear it at a game. Like I'm gonna wear a sauce jersey with the sauce chain and the Frank's Red Hot sauce. I had to order, some website had like Frank's Red Hot sauce earrings, and I like broke the earrings and then clasped it on the U of the sauce chain. So I gotta throw on that on. I was gonna do it to start the show, but with that dog, there's no way that this sauce chain would have made it. So we got to put that on. I don't know if this is just becoming the persona of the Wednesday night solo shows, but if I'm rocking the sauce chain, I had to rock the sauce necklace as well, which again, little Franks, I got to figure out how to make it straight on there, but good times when you're ordering earrings for like $10. Sneakers to boots. Good to see you, Joe. Good to see you. Sneakers to boots. Verge, Ulbrich, and Impressor today. Yeah, I was going to bring this up, and honestly, I write down a lot of topics for you guys, and then you guys just bring it up anyway. So there's really no point of writing stuff down because inevitably over 2-3 hours, you guys are going to bring it up. So Verge Tibbs, Ulbrich, and Presser today said the system should have D-line playing only 30 to 35% of the snaps, or 30 to 35 snaps. Yikes. I get keeping them fresh, but some guys need to be out there a lot more, right? Yeah, Verge, this is a topic I was going to hit on before or later, and obviously it's a good time to do it now since you mentioned it, but at what point are you pouring too much value into your starters on the defensive line? And I get that, again, they have the Martins, they have the Huffs, they have the Clemens, they have the the Rankins who are going to be backups, the Marshalls, the Shepherds, whatever. I get that. But at a certain point, I think Q averaged like 40-ish snaps a game last year, and that was like 60. An average game, at least a couple of years ago, was like 130. Right now, it's maybe it's a little bit up, but maybe it's like 130 to 140. So let's say you split that. Okay, that's going to be 60 to 70 snaps for the defense. If you have a guy who's playing about 50% of the snaps, how can you justify giving anybody a massive contract? Like if let's say Q balls out, right? Let's say Q gets 10 sacks. He kind of builds upon what he was in year two. Again, year one, year two, year three. Does he keep going back up? If he balls out, and he wants money now, let's say he wants, he gets like a 10 sacks, however many tackles for loss, and he wants $18 million. How can you justify paying a guy $18, $19, $20 million a year on the defensive line? D-end, D-tackle, doesn't matter if he's only playing 50% of the snaps. I think this is probably a little bit, maybe he's not overreaching. Maybe he's being a little bit, I don't even know the word for it. He's overstating it. 30 to 35 is unacceptable to me. Even last year at 40 was unacceptable. You can't go into, there was times where we were in the red zone and you'd see, Tim Ward, Jonathan Marshall, Nathan Shepard, and Bryce Huff, on the field. It's like, dude, like you can't do that. Same thing with the receivers. Like you'd have Moore, Davis, and Crowder come out, and it would be Keelan Cole, Tyreek Black, and Vincent Smith or Jeff Smith or whatever it was. Like you can't do that full rotation. It doesn't work like that. Like it's you have to keep some of your good players on the field. And like, if you're going to pay a guy like Q $18, $19 million a year, you can't pay him 50% of the snaps. Even now, seeing him as a third overall pick, Carl Lawson getting a relatively big contract, JJ being a first round pick, JFM getting $13, $14 million a year. You can't see them on the field only 50% of the snaps. They have to play 70, 75%. 30 to 35 is about 50% of the snaps. Too low. It's too low. I get they're deep, but your best players have to play. So I completely agree. That would be a problem to me. It was a problem last year, both the lack of the top guys playing, and that's, that really meant JFM, Q last year. But now if you're seeing Q, JFM, Carl Lawson, all these guys only on the field for 50% of snaps, it's just not worth it. You're too much investments in those guys with not high enough of a snap percentage for them to produce the way they should be producing. Listen, I like the backups. I like Martin. I like Huff. I like Rankins, but there's a large drop off between JFM on the inside and Rankins at this point. There's a large difference between Q on the inside at, anywhere from 0 to 3. There's a large difference between him and Nathan Shepard and Jonathan Marshall and even Rankin. Same thing with Lawson, JJ on the edge. Well, maybe there's a little bit, Lawson to other guys. I don't think there's going to be as large of a drop off between JJ and Curry and Martin and Huff. JJ is the strongest run defender out of all those guys, but out of all those edge rushers right there, if I'm picking a guy to win one-on-one pass rush rep, it's Curry over JJ right now. And might even be Martin over JJ right now. JJ has to develop his pass rush moves. I told you guys that. Now, could he? Yeah, he could be better than all those guys. But right now, money on the line, I'm taking one of those guys over him on third down, which, again, people might think is crazy, but he's a rookie. He has to develop those pass rush moves. So, yeah, 30-35 is crazy. Eccles' stats was just as good as Pat Surtain. Yes. Okay, sure. What stats? I don't know, Jets gang. But was he as good as Pat Surtain? No. Like I stats are stats. That's why we kind of do the film stuff here. I'm not relying on stats to tell me how good a corner is, because corner play is really hard to evaluate. So Surtain was very, very good. Very, very good last year for the Broncos. Max Millen. I also saw an article on PFT Pro Football Talk, right? Saying that the new coaches are impressed with him in camp now. That could be yes, exactly, Max. You're talking about Mims. They could be really impressed with him. Okay, he's going to be that 4 or 5. Or, let's listen. Last year, like we all thought, food poisoning, fish, blah, 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 blah. Tyreek Black and Jeff Smith were getting reps over him at the end of the year when Barrios was like the number 1. He had 8 catches, no touchdowns, or 9 catches, no touchdowns. That's a problem. Zach inaccurate today. I didn't see that or hear that, to be completely honest. Scott Wilson and with all this practice stuff, they could be trying new things. He could be trying new footwork. He could be trying, right foot up in shotgun instead of left foot, and that kind of screws up his timing. There's so many little things they could be trying on the side that we don't want to look into this stuff too much in terms of how good or bad a guy is. Zach was amazingly accurate last offseason at times, and then he came out in games and couldn't hit a swing pass. How many times were Geno Smith or Salim Hakeem hyped up? I wish we could see the film. We're talking about the practice. Yeah, I wish we could too. Which again, I've been lagging a little bit in terms of the film reviews. Last year I got like 30 out. This year I already got 18 out, and I will have Brees Hall and Clemens and Max Mitchell and Zonovan Knight and Tomlinson, Reed, Uzama, Conklin. That's all going to be done. It's all going to be done. What does Ulbrich have to impress? What does Ulbrich have to do to impress next year? What can you do schematically to stop the run if we don't have the talent? They have to. So last year, my biggest problem with the defensive line in the front and how they kind of deploy their guys was you have a guy in Foley who is a 2-gap nose tackle run stuffer. Like, okay, you could rush him at times, but on run downs, and especially against the Pats and the Pats, and you guys can go back and watch the episode. Pats week 2. They got, and this is, and I said this before, and I hope you guys, at least, if the guys who watch enough know, I was concerned 4-3 fronts, they're going to struggle against power, against gap, against trap, against wham blocks, against all this stuff, because they're penetrating up the field, and those are long developing patient type runs, or long developing runs that really take advantage of you pushing up the field and takes advantage of those angles. I saw that and I was like, they need to adjust. They got to start throwing some hybrid fronts like Bill Belichick does with their guys 2-gapping. So is he going to adjust? That was a problem last year. How are the rotations? Again, like I was mentioning before, Verge Tips 30 to 35% of the snap or reps a game for the defensive lineman. Can't have that. You can't have full substitution packages. Substitute a guy in there, a guy or two into the 4-man front at times, but not the entire front. You cannot have at any time Q, JFM, Lawson all off the field. Like those guys, those are the big 3. Am I forgetting anybody? Like the big 3 of the defensive line should be JFM, Q, Lawson, and obviously you have the Rankins and the JJs and all those guys. But those are the big 3. They should never be all off the field. One of them should be on the field. You can't take those guys off the field. Okay, here trots in Jonathan Marshall, Shepard, Martin, and Huff, and it's third down in the red zone. We can't have that. We have to have the top tier talents on the field. At least one of them. Hopefully 2 of them. I kind of compare it to like the basketball rotations. And obviously this didn't work out with the Nets or really, any superstar team. Like the Celtics when they had Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, and Paul Pierce. All 3 of those guys don't come off the court at the same time. One gets subbed out. Hopefully you have 2 of them running at the same time. Kind of same thing with those guys. Obviously a little bit different. It's basketball, but you get the point. So Roland, Kyle did a good job in your absence. Told us your self-taught on scouting players. Impressive. Yeah, honestly, in high school, I was into football. Obviously, I played it, but I wasn't about the X's and O's. I knew what I had to do, but that was it. And in high school, depends on how good your high school is, but you have 10 to 20 offensive plays, 5 to 10 defensive calls, and that's about it. And past that, I really didn't care too much about it. And then it was after high school that I really started getting into podcasting. And again, really, what happened was I to this day, I still don't listen to ESPN, WFAN, any of that stuff. I can't. Stephen A. Smith, all that garbage, First Take. I don't watch SportsCenter. I don't watch NFL Network. I don't watch any of that stuff ever. I just don't. I listen to podcasts when I do anything. But I was listening to that stuff. I got frustrated, started doing my own thing. And I talked about like Tyson, like those guys, Jet Nation Radio, was listening to them. And then they went and did Let's Talk Jets. And after they did Let's Talk Jets, there was a guy, Brandon Dowling. Brandon Dowling was doing Jet Nation Radio, and I called and was just talking with him, like as a caller, and he liked my opinions and thought I was obviously, I knew what I was talking about. He asked me to do the show, did the show with him. We went separate ways. He just, we just went separate ways. I'm not gonna say that. We went separate ways. I did it with my buddy Vinny from high school. From there, he wasn't going to do it long term. And again, he wasn't like 53-man roster deep type guy. So I started doing with Glenn Naughton. Glenn, and that's when I was doing more like just like talk stuff without actually doing like the film. And then me and Glenn went separate ways because I started doing more of the film stuff. Went to TOJ just doing film. After TOJ, went to JetX. And yeah, a lot of it's just me researching, watching corners break down corners, watching receivers break down receivers, getting to know Marcus Coleman, getting film tips from him, doing that, watching coaching clinics, watching guys like Bob Wiley, watching guys like Jim McNally, watching guys like James Light and all this. Like it's self-taught. And like, again, I have, like, if you look at here, let me just show you, like, and it takes, like, I'll write stuff down. I'll forget stuff. There's so much stuff I forget off the top of my head that I go back to my notes in terms of just like, okay, what is the difference between this trap and that trap, or this zone and that zone, or what's the difference between, a box 4 and 7 and red 7 and, push calls and fast flat calls and all this stuff and ripliz. And I have notes on all of that stuff. And like, if you look at my phone, literally, like this is from years ago, but like you could see the amount of notes in here that like go on my phone in terms of football. Like this is like labeled by like offensive line, defensive line, corners, receivers. Like this is all notes and links to film and coaching clinics and all this stuff. And all this stuff is in my head somewhere. Sometimes I forget some stuff, but it goes on for a while. And I've been, self-teaching myself this for years. Yeah. And then there's more. I have notebooks of books I read. So I appreciate that. I don't know what Kyle necessarily highlighted all that stuff, but yeah, it's, sneakers or boots. What does Quinnen have to put up for stats? Again, sneakers or boots. I know you've been watching for at least a little bit. I hate stats. Stats or performance scheme wise to warrant JD giving him the contract. What is the contract? Obviously, sneakers to boots. I'm going to assume you're going to mean like $18 to $21 million a year. Like, because again, if you're a top 5, top 10 at any position, D tackle, D end, receiver, you're going to get like that next biggest contract, or at least right around it. So about $20 million a year, let's say 18, let's say 19 million, 19 million, 4 years, 3 of it guaranteed, whatever. But continuing, he's come up big 3rd and 4th down, which are the money downs. And he put up some numbers last year. And I think that some people's view of him can be skewed looking at the stats because of how much, or the lack of his playing time, which again is a problem with Jeff Ulbrich. But he did not make that leap. To me, in 2021, 2020, good rookie year, was solid. Second year, he had those games against the Dolphins, against the 49ers week 2, where he just dominated. I think the Broncos game he dominated in his second year as well, where year 3, he had some games, but none like the Niners game, none like the Dolphins game. Like, he didn't have those massive games. And maybe a part of that is him not being on the field as much, but still, just from a consistency, snap to snap thing, he didn't have it. Like, he can't just disappear at times. And I get he didn't have guys around him. And having Lawson and Curry back and all this stuff will really free him up. At a certain point, being a top 5 pick, being a guy who wants $19, $20 million a year, it doesn't matter who's around you. You got to produce. And he disappointed last year. Again, depending, again, whatever you think about the stats on film, what I expected of him, I expected him to take that leap to be that top 5 D tackle, at least top 10. We'd have to really go through some D tackles in the league right now to see if he is truly a top 10 guy. I think he's floating right around there, but for what we expect of him, he should be near that top 5. So he needs to, again, regardless of stats we have last year, 7.5, get that up to 9, 10 sacks. Come up with more tackles for loss, be more effective in the run game as a 4-3 penetrator, have more awareness against certain zones or certain blocking schemes. Like, he was good and at Bama when he was using that light stance where he would come up and come more vertical and read guys instead of just penetrating right away, because he was smart and he could recognize schemes, but it all happens a lot faster when you're penetrating. So can he put it together? being more active with his hands, being more quick to expect contact instead of reading 3-4, stuff 2 gaps and react type deal. So he has to produce more. One, again, a little bit more, again, pressure, sacks, however you quantify him producing. So more production. And I think that he needs to really build upon that second year, because third year he leveled out, if not got worse. So $19-20 million a year, he's going to have to do a lot because they have a lot of resources in that position right now. There are questions though. Lawson, Curry, him, Rankins, is he gone next year? So you're hoping that Q could really step up. You're hoping that Q is a centerpiece of this defensive line, because let's be real. Lawson, he's had a couple of leg injuries. Is Rankins back? I don't know. But you want Q, JFM, JJ, and then again, some of those guys as backups, Huff and Martin, to be around here for a while. But you really want Q. If I could fast forward a year, I want to see that Q gets that contract, because if he doesn't, where does he go? How do we replace him? We probably struggled against the run, which again, starting with the AFC North for me at this point, they're all run. They're not all necessarily run. They are run heavy. But Ravens really run heavy. Bengals have Mixon and a better offensive line. He could tear you up a little bit. The Browns, especially if Watson's not on the field, even if he was, Watts or no Watson, they're going to run the ball. They have Chubb and Hunt, probably the best 1-2 combo in the league. And then the Steelers, they have Najee, and they have a decent offensive line, and they have a quarterback who's not very good, so they're going to rely on the run game. So the Jets' run defense interiorly and from safety and linebackers going to be tested very, very early. So I get so far behind in the chat so quickly because I try to get all your guys' questions, and you guys kill it when I'm by myself just asking stuff. So Steven Angle, I always fuck it up. I call him Angle. Kurt Angle. What's up, Steven? Adam J. Parnes, prediction for low-key breakout players on the team this year. Example last year, I guess Bryce Huff, which wasn't really correct, but you get the idea. Low-key breakout players. Can any of the offensive free agent signings be like? Can I say Conklin? Based on, again, how do you quantify it? I think he's gonna be more effective than some people think. I think that Carter might be a little bit underrated by fans at this point. I think that running behind a bad offensive line last year, he has such good leverage and he has such good contact balance that he could be becoming overlooked at this point. But I think people still rate him correctly. So offense, yeah, maybe Conklin. On defense, I think there's a few guys, but it's not really low key. I think DJ Reed at this point is being a little bit underrated by Jets fans. I really, really like Reed's game. I like the mentality he brings. I like the aggression. I like the ability to play in zone. I like his smarts. I like how quick he is to break on the ball. I really, really like Reed, and I'm really looking forward to doing that review. Again, Marcus Holm was going to do Sauce Gardner with me. I think we're going to do Reed and we're going to do Wilson. And you guys are going to be impressed with Reed. And I can guarantee you, again, go and watch that. I know what Marcus likes. We both like good corner play. He's going to like Reed as well. Guarantee he's going to like Reed. And it's going to be a fun show to talk about him. So Reed, another guy on defense who I kind of mentioned before, I think Martin could be a guy, again, if he's only getting 30% of the snaps, is he going to be viewed as like a breakout player? By most fans, no. But I think if you look at him in terms of his effectiveness in those 30% of the snaps that he's going to get, again, just a guess, I think he'll be more effective. So let's say Martin, let's say Reed, even though he's not really low key, maybe Conklin. There's probably a guy out there who I'm just not thinking of off the top of my head. But that's what I would say. Our turnover ratio was -13, which has been the case for years. Ruggs 89 in New York. In terms of the Jets just being minus turnovers, not having a pick. Like the Jets didn't have a pick until what week was that? We didn't have it week 1. We didn't have it week 2. Week 3 was the Broncos didn't have it then. Who was week 4? Was it like JFM? Was it JFM who got like a tip pick versus somebody? Somebody tell me in the chat. Somebody drop in the chat. I'll see it in an hour from now. When's the first pick the Jets got last year? It's like week 4 or 5, right? And that's the problem. They needed and Sauce should be able to do that. His length, his aggression, his ability to jump the ball. Same thing, Reed. Like the thing with Reed is, yeah, he's 5'9", 5'10". His wingspan, I think, is like of a 6'2" corner. Like he has length, which is really, really important. So he's short, which allows him to be low center of gravity, be able to break well, but he also has those long arms to jump balls and to get some PDs. So that, yeah, you hope they're plus. You do. But yeah, -13 must improve drastically, and I believe it will. Zach in second year and revamp defense. Yeah, it will be. It will be. And that's one of the biggest things you could look at in the game and see, and it will determine who won that game. So if you play more of a ball control offense and you take your shots because you're going to be in second and third and short a lot because hopefully of the good running game, Zach's not going to be behind a bad offensive line, forcing it on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, whatever, because hopefully, again, you're in short yardage situations. So the offense is going to be hopefully ahead of the sticks. And then on defense, like we're talking about, you're getting more consistent pass rush, which should lead to more errant throws or pressured throws. And then you have guys at corner. Listen, like no offense to Eccles or those guys. Like they were Eccles is a slam dunk for a 6th-round pick, but we cannot compare his ball skills and his ability to play receivers as compared to Reed and Sauce. You know, they're going to be able to make some plays on the ball. Now, again, is it going to click immediately? You know, and listen, I'm wearing a Sauce jersey with a Sauce chain with a necklace. I get it. And people are going to be like, oh, Blewett thinks he's going to be the best corner in the league. I'm not saying that. Obviously, I'm fucking around. Like, I like getting jerseys of the rookies, and I'm obviously just being an asshole with the chain, which is just fun to me. But he's going to have his lumps. Sauce in year one. Like he's going to have his lumps. Reed might have a lump or two getting adjusted to just some of the new terminology in the system, how they may pass some stuff off. Again, everything's not going to be the same. So they're going to struggle a little bit at times, especially early against some of these good teams, but they should not be minus 13. It's actually put in a better situation and they have more playmakers, even at safety. You know, listen, I get Ney was solid for the Jets when he played, but he didn't play a lot last year, or he played probably like 10, 12 games, maybe off the top of my head, maybe a little bit more than that. But past that, he was out. Joyner was out. Like even just adding Joyner, a few forced fumbles, you know, Reed and Sauce getting some picks, defensive line getting a couple of forced fumbles, or forced fumbles. Like it should definitely improve. The West Coast Jets, will D-line want to sign? Yeah. And West Coast Jets, like that's a discussion, like, and maybe re-sign or sign. Like, does Ogunjobi, if you're saying, okay, and it depends. I guess if you're a backup player, like let's say you're a backup player. Let's just say you're Vinny Curry. Vinny Curry on another team, you know, let's just say he wants to go to the Colts. The Colts might say, okay, we're going to give you 30% of the snaps. And then Vinny Curry might be like, okay, well, I want more than 30% of the snaps because I want to produce more so I get a bigger contract. Obviously, Curry's probably the best example because let's say Martin, or let's just say Ogunjobi. Ogunjobi, like he should want to play a lot of reps. No, I'm not thinking about that right. I'm fucking that up. A guy who's a true backup, let's say a Vinny Curry, a Josh Martin, should be happy to play in the system because it gets them more reps, which leads to them producing more, which leads to bigger contracts. Guys like Q, guys like JFM, guys like Lawson, maybe guys hesitate to play here because, okay, listen, I might get 8 sacks and 50% of the snaps, but if I go to the Colts and they want to play me 75% of the snaps for a 1-year deal, I'll produce more and then get a bigger contract. Like, so if Ogunjobi is taking a 1-year prove-it deal, will he want to play here if he's only playing 50% of the snaps? Maybe not. Maybe he wants to play more. Maybe that's why they're waiting, you know? So, concerned with the run defense. I am also concerned. They didn't really upgrade the run defense minus, again, getting a guy like JJ, but interiorly, they didn't really upgrade. Linebacker, you have Sherwood, who's a 5th-round pick last year, who didn't impress me. They didn't impress me at Auburn. Is now coming off an Achilles tear. Does Thompson take a step up? Maybe. You know, does Quincy Williams take a step up? Maybe he does. But past that, you know, what if Mosley goes down? What are they going to do at linebacker if Mosley goes down? They need to bring in Quan. They need to bring on Deion Jones. They need to bring in somebody. They cannot have nothing behind Mosley. Like, again, they have Quincy, they have Thompson, they have all these guys, and people are afraid of the linebacker group in terms of the 2 and the 3 and even the 4. But what happens if your 2 or your 3 now becomes your 1 and your 2? Imagine if Mosley goes down and it's Hamza or Sherwood or Harris and Quincy Williams as your starting linebackers. They got to do something. They have, in my opinion, they absolutely, undoubtedly have to do something at 2 positions to me. 2 linebackers. Linebackers not 1. Backup offensive tackle is the number 1 need on this team. I get that in a vacuum, linebacker, even safety are probably bigger needs, just looking at the positions individually. But in terms of to the team, you cannot fuck around with your backup tackle. Like we saw last year, obviously Becton go down, Moses filled in amazingly. This year, let's say the same thing happens, which hopefully it doesn't. But even if Becton plays 13 games, 14 games, do you want Max Mitchell either playing like Moses did last year, playing the entire season, or Max Mitchell or McDermott or Adoga, whether it be 17 games, what 4, 5, 6? I can't have it. 3, 2, no. Not Adoga, not McDermott. Max Mitchell could develop into a starting tackle. I'm not relying on that in year one. No way. You cannot have that weak of a link on your offensive line. So they have to sign a Brandon Shell. I don't know if Eric Fisher's out there. They have to sign some type of tackle with experience. So that's number one. Number two, linebacker to me. Again, Mosley goes down, you're absolutely fucked. And even past that, let's say a team is, the Browns. What if the Browns are running 13 personnel all game against the Jets, and then you have Hamza on the field and Quincy Williams, and then obviously then guys like Michael Carter come out, some of the more talented players in the Jets, and now those guys are trying to stop Nick Chubb. You gotta, and I get Quan Alexander is not the best in the run game, but you have to have something there with some experience. So offensive tackle, linebacker, I would say past that, my third is safety. Again, Joyner hasn't played a safety role since like 2018. Last year he was injured. So what is he going to be? I think right now, if again, however you quantify it, if you can put him as the 28th best free safety, you'd sign the dotted line. Like that's a bad starter, but that's a lot better than we had last year. Last year we had bad depth starting. Now if we have a bad starter, that's an upgrade. But still, let's say he gets injured. Then who is it? Is it Will Parks? Is it Ashton Davis? Is it Pinnock? I don't want that. So hopefully they throw some money at maybe backup safety. And then past that, my fourth, which is probably, I think a lot of people have a different fourth. Or so sorry. Actually, no, that's not my fourth. That's not my third. I apologize. We'll make it a top five. I'm a little bit all over the place. But backup tackle, linebacker, defensive tackle. They need to run stuffing defensive tackle, or at least just more talent there. So D tackle, safety. My fifth, I think everybody should have the same four, to be completely honest. My fifth is a receiver. If we're buying the Mims stuff, if you were buying the Mims stuff personally, okay, then we don't need that receiver because Mims is going to be the 4 or the 5. For me personally, hopefully Mims does improve, but what if he's the 8 catch guy of last year, not lining up right, out of shape, whatever we're going to talk about, and we have an injury. Do I want to rely on Garrett Wilson to be a starter the entire game? Do I want it to be Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, and Braxton Berrios as the 1, 2, 3? To me, get another veteran in here. I know Keelan Cole, I think, signed with the Raiders, but sign an Emmanuel Sanders to be the 4 and come in here and teach them the young guys. I would like another receiver. Do they do it? No. Again, or maybe not. It's my 5th biggest need. But again, tackle, linebacker, D tackle, safety, 4th string, 5th string receiver. Again, even a guy for $1.5 million, $2 million, you can rely on if you have an injury to Corey Davis, whoever it may be. So, easier concerns about the run defense because of Whitehead and Johnson. So I think this does help to ease it as compared to last year, Stephen. But how bad it was last year, just Whitehead and just Johnson do not make up for it. Like, you need to have at least an okay run defense. They were absolutely dreadful last year. And just Whitehead and Johnson who's going to be playing 50% of the reps, especially because, he's not on the same tier right now, at least, of a Q, JFM, Lawson. He's going to be rotated in more. Like, you're going to see those guys on the field more than Johnson, where Johnson on some pass downs, or sorry, just in general, he's going to be rotated out more. But just Whitehead's going to take some bad angles. He's going to miss a tackle or two, and Johnson are not going to make that difference. They're going to make some type of difference, but they're not going to bring them from 32 to 18. They might bring them from 32 to 27, but that's still not good enough for me. And you're going to need more guys at linebacker, more guys in the interior of the defensive line to really shore up that run defense. Last year, they were historically bad in some games. So I think that helps, but it doesn't solve it. It's not going to just completely get it done. I'll give up Mims for a mop bucket. We got 5 for Cashman, a 2nd for Mims, Jets gang. Yeah, if they can get a 5 for Cashman, a 4th for Herndon, a 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold, maybe they do get a 3rd for friggin' Mims. Let's see. Eccles was a top 3 rookie corner, again, by stats maybe, but was he better than Surtain and all these guys? I don't think so. I don't think they bring in Reed and Sauce if he's a top 3 rookie cornerback. You're not going to put Eccles as your 4 or your 5 if he's a top 3 guy. Like again, PFF may say that. Was he really? Probably not, or definitely not. Again, I have to go and watch all those other guys to really tell you. Again, I can't say that. Like, definitely rock solid. He was not top 3. But there's plenty of guys out there who played pretty damn well. So. Andrew, with the depth though we have on the wide receiver squad, which again, how do you quantify depth? I think their true depth ends at 4. Again, if you were a Jets fan, are you really writing home about Mims at this point? No. Are you writing home about Jeff Smith? No. Vincent Smith? No. So I think they have okay depth. I don't think their depth is great, to be honest. Actually, let's just say it. I think Barrios as a 4 is fine, but the 5 and the 6 concern me. Again, hopefully Mims steps up. I don't have any questions about it. But who do you think could make the team? To me, like receivers, like the typical number is 6. So obviously you have the top 4 I was just talking about with Wilson, Moore, Corey Davis, and Barrios. I think past that, if I had to bet right now, it's probably Mims and Jeff Smith. Maybe it's one of those UDFAs. But Mims and Jeff Smith. Listen, Mims, give him the shot as a 6. Cool. Do I want Jeff Smith as a top 6 guy? No. So bring in another guy. I don't think their depth is great this year. I think their depth last year was solid. Now they have more top tier talent this year. I think they have a higher ceiling because you're replacing Crowder with Wilson, and Wilson could be legitimately be a number 1. Year 1, maybe 700, 800, 900 yards, or whatever it is. But last year they had Crowder, Cole, Barrios as the 5. So I think last year the depth was even better. Again, depth of our starting talent is different. I don't think it's great this year. Rangers just scored. Oh, Rangers are playing. I don't know. Rangers are playing right now. So I appreciate the 116 people in here. I'm sure that there would be even more if the Rangers were on. But good luck to them. I don't hate the Rangers. Murdoch, this is football. If Mims is a wide receiver 4, he's one injury away from him having a much bigger role. So why be gung-ho on trading him right now? I guess it depends on like what they can get in free agency, Murdoch. Like if I could tell you right now, again, just being honest, if you had Mims or maybe not the field, but a free agent receiver, it's 3rd and 5. You have a guy who has to win on an over, a slant, an out, a curl, whatever the route is. It doesn't matter. Would you bet your life on Mims winning that or Emmanuel Sanders right now? If I'm being honest, I'm taking Emmanuel Sanders to win that 1 rep. Now, what is the Jets' faith in Mims? If he comes out and they're just gloating him up to trade him, they trade him, they sign Sanders. Okay, again, am I more comfortable with Sanders right at this very moment than Mims as my wide receiver 4 or 5? To be honest, I am. I think Mims has a much higher ceiling, but again, your life on the line, guy to win on a 5-yard route. Are you taking Sanders or Mims? I think if you're being honest with yourself, it's Sanders. Sanders had 600, 700, 800 yards last year with the Bills, and I know they have a high octane offense, but past that, I still think he's a more effective receiver than a Denzel Mims at this very moment. Just give me 2 seconds. I got to give the wife the computer charger, and then I'll be back on in a second. So I apologize for having to leave again. Just give me 2 seconds. All right. We're back. I'm sorry. Usually she doesn't ask for the computer charger, but she has, she's in the medical field. So she has to do like notes and call people and all that stuff. So she needs her computer too. So let me just put back in my earphones, which honestly, I don't even think the earphones do anything because I'm talking to myself, but it does not feel right when I don't have something in my ear when I'm recording a podcast. It just feels wrong. So I have to have some earphones in. Let's see. Alex Hunt, no, they got Fitz hurt when they had him. Oh, I honestly didn't know the Raiders even ever signed Fitz. Again, I don't remember that. But Mims was pretty promising his first season. He can definitely hit 400 yards, and God forbid he takes a leap this year too. Nikki Free, listen, I'm a Jets fan before I'm anything. I'm a Jets fan before I do podcasting, live streams, film, whatever. If you could tell me, hey, no, I'm not going to say that. Could he? Sure. Does he have the ability to? Yes. After year 1, going into year 2, we expected Mims to take that leap. And that's why we're so high on the receiver core last year, because we expected Mims to be that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. We signed Davis. Great. He's the 1/2. You have Mims, the 1/2/3. You have Elijah Moore. You have Crowder past that. You have Keelan Cole as a 5. Holy shit. You have Barrios as a 6. This is great. That's what we were thinking. And then Mims has 8 catches, no touchdowns, false starts, missing practice, whatever else. So could he? Does he have the ability to? Yes. Did when he came in his rookie year against the Chargers, against the Pats, against the Dolphins, was I very impressed? Yes, I was when he was playing with Joe Flacco. And that's part of my argument against Darnold. I'm like, dude, Mims came and produced with Darnold. He's producing all this shit with Flacco. Like, just get him the ball, Darnold. And I was high on coming into year 2, and he completely fizzled out. So it can go either way. I wouldn't be surprised either way. If I had to bet again, I would bet on him not being on the team in 2 years, and I would bet on him being on the team in 2 years and being the 3 or 4. If I'm just being honest, that's just how I see it. But I would love for nothing more than Mims to come out and get fucking 17 touchdowns. I would love it. Surpass more Barrios, Davis, and Wilson. Be the number 1. I would love it. I loved his film at Baylor. And a lot of people talk about, like, oh, his yak and all this, whatever. He had a limited route tree at Baylor. Wasn't asked to run a lot of routes, so we know he'd be raw, but he has a physical capability. You pull off that off that keychain, yeah. It's actually a earring that I had to pin to it. So, is there sauce inside? Gotta chug it when Sauce gets his first interception. I would love to get like the tiniest little like flask attached to it. Like, is that big enough? Is that a shot? No, it's not a shot. That's like half a shot. If I could just put half a shot in there, his first interception ever, just like half a shot. Honestly, it's probably not even half a shot. That's a bitch shot. I'll sneak in a flask. I dig it. Mims could easily take a leap this year. Sure, he could, but he easily could take a leap last year. See, Perfect Q. Probably shouldn't get all that sauce jewelry until you see what he's like. The necklace was $10, and the other thing was like $5. I'm fucking around again. Am I serious? Like, oh my god, he's gonna be a superstar. Darrelle Revis. Look, this is why I'm rocking it. No, I'm just fucking around. Like, I'm not. I've said that before. I know there's gonna be people. I'll get a comment or two like, oh my god, he thinks he's the best corner in the league. No, that's not what I'm saying. I just support Jets players, and I guarantee if I wear this to a game, people are like, oh dude, look at the fucking sod. Like, who cares? Just have some fun. Have some fun, Perfect Q. I know you're in here all the time. I'm just saying, have some fun. That's all I'm doing. Adam J. Parnes prediction for left tackle, right tackle battle. Can really see it going either way, even though a healthy Becton is an elite left tackle. So I think they're going. This is hard, Adam. I'm kind of like 50-50 on who's going to win, because ideally you have Becton win left tackle. In his rookie year, he was a top 10-ish left tackle going or throughout the entirety of his rookie year. Now, did he have his lumps? Did he get beat up a little bit by Cleveland Farrell, etc.? Yes, but overall, was he floating around top 10? Yes, he was. Rookie year where we expected him to be raw as a pass setter because he didn't take a lot of true pass sets at Louisville. So we were happy with that. And obviously he had injuries, and then he had the freak injury kind of going or in the Panthers game. So ideally you have him be that left tackle. At the same time, if the Jets are preaching competition, Fant earns a legitimate shot at it. Last year he was very good at left tackle. Again, I think Becton's ceiling is higher than Fant at left tackle, but Fant, with that being said, was very consistent at left tackle. Is a team leader, and he signed here as a left tackle. Like, he was a right tackle with the Seahawks, switched to the left side in 2019 now, 2020, played really well, and then signed for the Jets as a left tackle. So, like, people are like, oh, the Jets had to draft a left tackle. Honestly, they could have drafted Wirfs and kept Fant at left tackle, which right now would probably, hindsight being 2020, would be the best move. If we could have Wirfs at right tackle and Fant at left tackle right now, I think we'd all sign a dotted line. Let's be honest. I would. Wirfs is one of the best tackles in the league, and Becton could be that, but there's many more questions about Becton than there are Wirfs. So if you can have Wirfs, great. But with that being said, I think George Fant has earned himself a legitimate shot to compete at that job. Prediction, I'm 50-50. I really am 50-50. I could see it going either way. But now Becton, I think you should edit the end of that. Healthy Becton is an elite left tackle to healthy Becton could be. He's not an elite yet. When he's healthy, he's not elite. I think he's very good. Could he be elite? Sure. But he's not. It's not just penciled in, okay, if he plays, he's elite. So I'm 50-50. If I had to put my money on it, I'm going to say Fant wins left tackle job. That's how I feel. Becton's the right tackle. You have Becton AVT. I'm rooting for all hell for Becton to win that left tackle job. But I think even if he's just as good at right tackle, which he played right tackle at Louisville, there was literally drives where he played left tackle and right tackle. Like people said, oh, Max Mitchell, he played left tackle and right tackle on the same drive. Becton did the same thing with Louisville. So could he do that for the Jets? Is an elite right tackle just as valuable as an elite right tackle or left tackle? I guess technically not, but is it 95% of it? Yes. Like an elite right tackle is great. Again, Wirfs is making all this noise right now. He's a right tackle. So guess who's rushing off the right side a lot? Guess who's going to be? TJ Watt in week 4. There's plenty of guys who rush off that side. Plenty of guys. Now, the blind side guy is more important because Wilson can't see him. But if I would sign the dotted line for him being just, a good right tackle, it's not like it diminishes the value of it that much anyway. So that's my prediction. Am I sure it happens? Again, I'm 50-50. So agree, we need to be more flexible, allow good players to play. Yeah, for sure, Harold, in terms of the defensive line. Keep moving on. Andrew, hope you all have a blessed night. 4 a.m. comes early. Go Jets. I guess you're across the pond. So good night to you, Harold H. Or no, 4 a.m. I guess you have work in the morning. I don't know what you do, but 4 a.m. comes early. So I apologize. I just misread that. You get up early. Harold H. Need to let good players play more than 35% of snaps a game. Need to adjust to win games. So yeah, 35% of the snaps would be about 50%, Harold. In my opinion, now, do you need to play them like 85, 90% of the snaps like Donald or Cox or whoever? Again, I don't know who's up there, but there are players up there. Would I rather see is 75% of a good number? Yeah. 75% I can live with. 70% in some games, okay. 50, 55, 60, it's not enough. For guys like Q, JFM, Lawson, 50 is not enough. 50% is enough for a guy like a JJ. 50% is enough for a guy, probably JJ. I think you have to have all of, again, assuming health, Lawson, JFM, Q, all playing at least 75% of the snaps. I think you have a guy like JJ at 50. If Curry, Martin, Huff could all be floating around 30, 35% of the snaps, I think that's a good number for those guys. So Rankins, probably 50%, something like that. I'm cool with that. Hit that like button. Appreciate that. Yes, hit the like button. Let's see. I know, again, I'm cool with stealing some Jets Talk 24/7 stuff because he's my good buddy. Maybe we start giving away some shows. I know he does 25 likes, and then he does something with like Nightbot, and he gives away his shirt. Maybe we'll start doing that with like 50 likes. Maybe 25. I don't know. Maybe we'll start doing that. It's a smart business model by him. Giving away shirts, promotion, and people more likes. More it goes into the algorithm. More Jets fans get it because more people like the stream. Oh, it must be good content. So smart by Ryan. I'm gonna have to steal it. Maybe I'll give away a shirt every couple of shows or something. I don't know. Roland, since Zach got other weapons to throw to, can't Mims just run simple go routes? At worst, he takes safeties from real targets. So in terms of Mims, like I don't think him being, again, we're talking about him in terms of options for the offense. Like I think him running simple routes in the red zone is a good thing to start with. Fades are easy in the red zone, slants, that stuff. Like just get that done. Now there are people out there who will say, "Oh well, LaFleur just needs to adjust his offense for Mims." I don't fall in that line of thinking. Again, when you look at him in terms of what you expect like the target share to be, or in terms of like the numbers are going to get, Davis, Moore, Wilson, Barrios, Conklin, Uzama, Brees Hall, and Carter. What is that? 6, 7, 8 guys who should see more shares than him of the ball. You're not going to adjust your offense for your 7th, 8th guy in terms of who's going to be getting the ball. So that's a little bit overstated to me. But can you just play him in the red zone? And run a fade for him? Sure. Like at the minimum, let him do that. Let's see. Which team are we upsetting this year non-division? Sorry, my note, dude, I don't know what it is. It's the dog but I get allergies. Which team are we upsetting this year non-division? Sneakers to Boots ask. I don't think the Steelers is an upset this year. I think if I said Ravens, it would be an upset. There's plenty of teams who'd be an upset. Honestly, I could see a couple. I could see and again, I'm not saying all of these because there are people who are predicting like they're going to beat all these teams. I could see the Ravens week 1 because of the energy. The Ravens may be starting a little slow. I could see the Bengals. Listen, the Bengals were in the Super Bowl last year. If you guys had to bet your money right now, are the Bengals making it back to the conference championship in the AFC? Not to me. Divisional, I think they're a wild card team this year. I think they're probably second or third in that division. I'm probably going to take Baltimore. And obviously, depending on how long the Watson suspension is, I could easily see Cleveland finishing 1 or 2. If Watson's suspended more than like 6 games, even 4 to 6 games, I would say that the Bengals will probably be better than them because the quarterback position is obviously important. But with Watson healthy, I think with Watson playing the whole year, which I don't think he is. I think that something came out that he's actually going to get suspended for a while. But I think with a healthy Watson, they're the third best team. With Watson out, they're the second best team. But I can see the Bengals. Honestly, to me, like the Jets play the Packers pretty well. And the Packers are coming off of a trip overseas. They didn't elect for a bye week after that trip overseas. The Jets are coming in. Listen, who is the best player on the Jets on the Packers offense? Aaron Jones, he's a running back. If you can contain him, which is easier said than done. You have him, you have Dylan, which might be a problem. You have Aaron Rodgers, but the receivers, does Lazard scare you? Does who else? I know that they brought other people in. They have they drafted 2 guys, right? They have Watson and is it Romeo Doubs they have? Or am I forgetting? But 2 rookies, Lazard, they're tight ends. Did Tunyon even come back? Like Tunyon, Lazard, and 2 rookies for him to throw to? I think they could beat the Packers. I do. So I would say, but to bet on it, who? I would say Ravens. I think that would be an upset, but I think with that energy week 1, it could happen. But I'm going to Green Bay. I would love for them to beat the Packers in Green Bay because I will be there, 100% be there. Ask Tua about Eccles. Jets gang. I don't know if you're talking to other people. I get it. He got a pick, but didn't Ashton Davis get a pick on Eccles too, or get a pick on Tua too? Should we ask Tua about how good Ashton Davis is? I think Ashton Davis making the team right now is a good goal for him. If I had to bet my money, or if I was operating the Jets right now, he's not making the team. Just because you're on your 3rd year and you had potential, I don't think he's the 4th best safety on this team. As of right now, again, gun to my head, lining up who's going to have a successful snap, however you quantify that. You're obviously taking Joyner. You're obviously taking Whitehead. I'm probably taking Elijah Riley and Parks over Ashton Davis right now, or I am. Undoubtedly, I'm taking him as 3 and 4. So does he even make the team? So are we going to ask Tua about Ashton Davis? Obviously, I think you know that, but still. And it's not like Tua's great anyway. And even with that play, Jets gang, the one you're talking about where he picked him off, that was actually tipped off to him by Michael Carter. So if anything, you should ask Tua about Michael Carter II, because Michael Carter II told Eccles that was coming and to jump that, and he did. And Eccles, even after that pick, came out and credited Michael Carter in the interview. So if you don't believe me, it literally came out of Eccles' mouth that Michael Carter II told him about that. Which, talking about corners, we talk about Reed, we talk about Sauce. I think Michael Carter, and I tweeted it today, Michael Carter II is being a little bit overlooked. He had a good rookie year as a slot guy. He's physical. He could blitz. He could play a little bit of safety. He was put out of position last year, having to play tight ends like Dawson Knox and Kyle Pitts. That probably hurt his PFF numbers. But overall, I think Michael Carter could be a good slot guy, and he was last year as a rookie. So let's see. Have you had a chance to look at Reed or Whitehead's film, Alex Hunt? Yeah, I just talked about that. Reed, his review was already done. I recorded all of his plays. I think I had 60 plays of Reed. I'm just waiting to actually do the film episode on him. Really, really high on Reed. Whitehead, I like him as a strong safety. Now, I don't want him playing a lot of man looks, whether that be a man match system like a 4 or 7, or that be a man situation just in straight cover 1, cover 2, whatever it may be. Or not cover 2, it would really be cover 2. But cover 1. Do I want him in man looks? No. Do I think he could be a decent robber, a decent cover 2 safety, a decent cover 6 safety on the 2 side? Yes. But do you want him playing in man coverage? No. Do you want him playing a lot in general coverage? I think he's okay in zone, not great in man. So I like Whitehead. I think, again, in terms of the run game, brings uber physicality, will get tackles for loss, will get a sack, he can blitz, is really physical in the blocks in terms of taking on blockers and stacking and shedding guys and just playing balls to the wall. Now, with it being said, with guys who play balls to the wall, is that going to hurt him at times where he's going to overrun, take a bad angle, miss a tackle because he's being overly aggressive? Yes, it will. So I like Whitehead. I do. But don't think he's ever going to miss a tackle because that's one of his issues in terms of being overly aggressive. But still for the contract they got him at $7.5 million, I like him a lot. And Reed, to me, is one of the more underrated, overlooked guys on the defense right now. I really, really like Reed. So, hey Joe, what is your favorite position to do film breakdowns of? I would say I'm the most comfortable in watching receivers and corners are my favorite. So I would probably say corner 1, receiver 2, and then my number 3, which a lot of people don't like because offensive line is offensive line and that's not sexy. But offensive line is probably my 3. Offensive line is probably the hardest to learn because there's so many blocking schemes between, belly zone, tight zone, mid zone, wide zone, outside zone, all different aiming points to me, all different ways you're going to block, tight zone, swerve runs or wave runs. And again, G lead versus buck sweeps versus pin and pulls versus traps versus whams. There's so many different schemes and what to do, leverages, hand placements. Offensive line is probably the hardest to learn, and I've gained an appreciation for that position because of how difficult it is to evaluate, and I feel I've grown a lot in that one. So I'd probably say that's my 3rd, but I would say corner 1, receiver 2, offensive line 3. Hey fellas, what's up, Jets fan United? Reed is a beast, yes. What's up, Jets gang? Hawk, I want to say Jets gang. Jets gang was right below you. Hawk, but I appreciate you jumping in here. I can't stand Stephen A. I cannot stand anybody on ESPN, NFL Network. I don't like any of them, to be honest. I don't value their opinions. What is the chance that even the guy you like pays attention to the Jets more than you do? And I get that, again, people are smarter than you guys and I out there, but not many. I'm telling you right now on WFAN, ESPN, ESPN radio, all that stuff. It's just not there. So. Any cuts today? Jets, Mets. There was some June 1st cuts, I believe, or there was expected to be. But I did not, none for the Jets, but I think there was some out there. Oh, I got 833. Okay. I have to scroll back to 833 after this because I got a big dick super chat from TKO Steve. Thank you a lot, man. $50, I think might be the biggest one I've ever seen on here. So that is awesome. And TKO Steve is consistently just not in the chat, bang, just lays it down on the table. So I appreciate that a lot, man. It really means a lot. Maybe off topic, but I don't trust Ulbrich. Great show as usual. Yeah, I think minus position coaches, however you not Middleton. I was going to mention tight end. He might be a dark horse OC eventually because of the way he leads guys. But again, I think Middleton leads guys. How does he coach the tight ends? Completely different thing. But with that being said, if the Jets were if you told me right now, flash forward, it's at the end of the Jets season, they went 6-10, or sorry, 6-11 at this point, or 7-10. What was the problem? I would bet the defense, and I would say, okay, one guy's gonna get fired. It'd probably be Ulbrich. So I don't trust Ulbrich either. Listen, yes, did he have injuries to Curry, to Lawson, to was JFM playing on the edge as compared to D tackle, which is a little bit out of position for him in terms of his greatest strengths? Yes. Did he have injuries at safety? Did he have injuries at everywhere? Sure. Is that an excuse for the Jets defense to be historically bad in terms of just Jets over the years? No, it's not. They've had worse defensive in terms of talent and injuries in the past. So I don't trust Ulbrich either, TKO Steve. Now I am more optimistic because of who Saleh and GM Joe Douglas have brought in terms of obviously Whitehead and Reed and Sauce and Mosley having more talent around him and hopefully bring in Ogunjobi and bring in JJ, bring in Martin, bring in back Curry. So I think they will be a better unit. But in terms of just trusting Ulbrich, I don't just trust him. If he comes out and Q is playing 50% of the snaps, 55, 60% of the snaps, that's a problem. If he rotates the way he rotated last year, where entire position groups rotate in and out, that's not good. Does he become more versatile in terms of guys not just having to play a 4-3 penetrating front? Does a D tackle maybe play a 2-gapping role versus some run-heavy teams or run-heavy sets? Does that happen? I don't know. And last year, we talked about having some faith in both Ulbrich and Saleh because they were the linebacker gurus. That's how they made their hay. That's how Ulbrich made his hay with what Campbell was it Campbell as a linebacker, with Deion Jones as a linebacker with the Falcons, with Saleh with the linebackers in Seattle. Yes. But unfortunately last year you had, those projects come in. Jared Davis, complete bust of a signing for $7-ish million a year. Hamza didn't prove anything. He was on special teams. Sherwood, when he came in the week 1, didn't really prove much of anything. I think he had a tackle or two, which people overrate. But they didn't really make any leaps with any linebackers last year. So last year, the linebacker development disappointed a little bit. Defensive disappointed a lot of it. So I don't trust him. I don't think anybody should trust him. This is a wait and see guy, Ulbrich. But TKO Steve, appreciate it a lot. $50 super chat again. Probably the biggest I think I've ever seen here. Maybe you've matched it before, but it's probably you again, TKO Steve. So definitely appreciate it a lot. I'm gonna move back up to the chat or to all the other chats again. I always want topics in here, or I always write topics, and I am almost an hour behind the chat because you guys fucking kill it when I'm by myself. So I really appreciate it. You guys always drop a lot. I heard Dotson get poached by the Bills, might try applying for the scouting position. Blewett. I heard Dotson got poached by the Bills, might try applying for the scouting position. What scouting position are you talking about, Nikki Free? Am I an idiot? What am I missing here? Apply for the scouting position. What position are you talking about, Nikki Free? I'm just an idiot. Michael LaFleur's press conference was interesting. Yeah, so I watched solids. I still got to watch all the players and LaFleur and Ulbrich. I didn't watch them all. I had some quotes from Saleh I want to go over, but that's about it. Rip to Marion Barber, greatest 2-yard. Dude, sneakers to boots. You are not mistaken. Yeah, you're not wrong, right? That was who were they playing sneakers to boots? But it was on they were on their own 2-yard line, and he broke like 7 tackles to not get a safety, right? That's the run you're talking about. Monster run. Greatest 2-yard run in NFL history. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. Good reference. Sneakers to boots. Jonathan Richter, what's up? Mekhi Becton is still hurt. Based on what? He's on OTAs right now. He had a baby. I'm not sure. About time douche. I'm not sure what that is. He was good, not special. Yeah, right now he is good. And he was drafted to be special, Ben Collins. And special is $20 million a year. Right now, he's not that. So can he take that leap from good to special? Completely agree. Alco, where's a Wawa coffee? I get Wawa all the time when I'm at work because I have Quick Check. And if you like Quick Check coffee, you don't like coffee. Although, let's be honest here. If you like Quick Check or if you like Dunkin' Donuts, you don't like real coffee. Wawa. And if you were around here or anywhere in I don't know how far Rook expands out of New Jersey or even where I'm at, but Rook is the best. Rook is coffee, actual coffee. Dunkin' Donuts is coffee water. Quick Check is just dog shit. I don't even know. Wawa is the best fast food coffee. Let's call it. Just finished it. You guys are going for more? You guys, Hawk, you gonna get me? Where does Hawk live? You guys know. I know Angle lives in Monmouth County. Hawk, you dropping off coffee at my front door, buddy? I would appreciate that. You could sneak on by. I'm not letting you in, but you can drop off me some coffee. Let's see. Texans was JFM, and that was week what? No way. Sneakers to boots. Was that really that long? Because the Texans game was week 10. Was it really that late? Or am I just misremembering? Both JFM and Shaq Lawson had picks. Yeah, they had JFM. You had Shaq Lawson. You had Ashton Davis, who was I think gifted 2. You had Eccles, who had 2 as well. I don't think Mosley even had one. Did a linebacker have one? Did Mosley have one? Quincy Williams might have had one. I forget, but they didn't have a lot. That's for sure. Hawk, honestly, if our defense can gel quickly this offseason and get together in the preseason, we can have a top 10 defense. So, Hawk, to me, I think that's a little bit of a reach, to be honest. I think that you can have some top 10 position groups. I think at the end of the year, if you told me again, however you quantify it, they had a top 10 corner group, okay. Now throughout the year, or did they end the year at this spot? Because the corners might struggle a little bit early on, but if they finish the year as a top 10 group, okay, I would buy it. If you told me, hey, end of the year, D-line, top 10 group, okay. Safety, no. Safety group is not top 10. Linebacker group is bottom 5 right now. I would say safety is bottom half of the league because of Joyner. I think Whitehead is an average starter, is an average to plus average starter, but Joyner is a lower tier starter at free safety. And then the linebacker group is, we've talked about it, bunch of question marks. So I think that if you could sign up for top 20 defense right now, you'd sign up for it. Listen, last year they were probably 32 in the league. If you could take 20, sign up for it. And that would be on the backs of corner, Whitehead, and the defensive line. But linebacker and safety are going to hold me back from saying top half of the league, not even top 10. I put my money on it right now. 22nd best defense in the league. I think that's doable, or I think that's reasonable. And with the 22nd defense, I think the offense, obviously assuming not even a leap from Zach Wilson, but progression upwards, you're expecting an offense that should be top 15, top 14. If you told me the offense, hey, Breece Hall hit his ceiling, the tight ends gelled quickly, they learned the offense, The receivers are hitting their stride. The Jets offense finished 10 in the league. I wouldn't think you're crazy, because the thing of this is last year, again, however you quantify this stuff, last year they finished at I think 18th. And this is not throughout the year. Like the last couple of weeks, they finished 18th. Can they take that leap from 18th, however you quantify it, to 12, 10, adding Laken Tomlinson and Uzama and Conklin and Brees Hall and Carter another year and Wilson another year? Why can't they? I expect the offense to be top 15, or at least floating near there. Defense, top 10, not for me, but what count is it? Yeah. JFM moving back inside should help the interior run defense. So to me, Hawk, I think JFM helps the run game as a D lineman on the outside, as a 5-tech, 7-tech, type guy, 6-tech with a tight end there. I think he helps on the edge as a run defender. I think JFM is a better run defender on the edge than he is inside, and a better pass rusher on the inside versus on the edge. So moving him inside doesn't necessarily help. Now, could it be an upgrade over a Sheldon Rankins on the inside? Sure, at times. Then Jonathan Marshall on the inside? Sure, at times. Then a Nathan Shepard on the inside? Sure, at times. But you still want another guy there. Like losing Foley, who was misused last year, and not having, a guy remotely similar to him, not being able to land DJ Jones or, even Akeem Hicks, who got signed, I think, a 1-year, $10 million contract, and not being able to land one of those guys is going to hurt. So, let's see. We need Quan. Yeah, we need a linebacker. Quan is probably that guy right now, even though he's more of a coverage guy than a run guy. So I don't think he'd be the best in the run game. A lot of missed tackles, and not the biggest frame guy, not the most secure tackler, but still, he's still something. So finally have adults running the team. Completely agree on that. Let's keep moving on. Again, I'm far behind, so I'm not even going to get to my topics. 9:22. I've went down 18% since I went and dropped off my charger. Let's see. Deion Jones, Quan Alexander, and Ogunjobi all suck. Okay. We got some negativity here. Herbig, move ABT to tackle. No, what are we doing? Hold on, what are we doing here? ABT is staying at guard. Herbig is not a starter. He's a good depth guy. Let's not make good depth good starters. Like Herbig, could he be a decent starter? Sure. He's young. Could he develop? Sure. Could he be that a decent guard? Yes, but let's have some depth. ABT is not moving to tackle. He was drafted to be a guard. He's going to stay at guard. Maybe one win in the first 8 games. I get that you're probably not a Jets fan, and maybe you are and you're just negative. I would bet you a lot of money the Jets are winning more than one game in the first 8. Before the bye, they need to have at least 3 wins. Could I see 2? Yes. There's a way it happens. I can't not see anything. Did I see 4 wins last year? No. So is there a way they only win 2 games in the first before the bye week? Yes, there is. The floor to me is 3-6. That's what they need to be. Am I hoping and praying for 4 to 5 wins? Sure. If I think in my prediction they're 4-5 in the first 9. Could I see it being 3? Yes. And then maybe finish in the year strong with the Jaguars and the Browns, the Dolphins late in the year in January. Obviously a good game to get to be in Miami. Bears, Jaguars, Lions. There's some games in there. Even the Vikings, I don't think are a game that the Jets are just going to lose. I think they could. I think the Jets, the Vikings are kind of always that average-ish team. I think the Jets should be that type of team this year. That average fighting for play. The Vikings are in the NFC, so they might make the playoffs in the wild card. But I think the Jets should be that Vikings type level team. I think they're if you compare the rosters, they might be just as talented, if not more talented than the Vikings. So why can't they beat them? But Deion Jones, he might suck. Quan Alexander, he might suck, Stephen, but to what extent? Because I don't know if you like Mosley, but Mosley rated out bad on a lot of PFF games last year. So how are you quantifying them sucking? I think that they may suck, but we might watch their film and be more impressed. Are they? And even if they do suck, is Deion Jones, Quan Alexander, are they better than Quincy Williams? Maybe not. But even past that, is Deion Jones, Quan Alexander, are they better than Sherwood or Nasruddin right now? I think you'd say yes. So that's an upgrade. And Ogunjobi, he had 7.5 sacks last year. That would have led the team. He'd have been number 1 on the team last year in sacks. So he sucks. That's the entire defensive line suck. I don't know about that. He tackled size, yes. Girth Brooks, appreciate the super chat. The scumbags at Madden gave DJ Reed a 78 rating. Yeah, their ranking system is garbage. Like who is ranking these guys? Reed, again, I know like the PFF number, he was a top 10 corner. I think he's like 9 or 8 or whatever. Do I expect that? No. Do I think I think, him being 24, or I think 25 years old, him being a number 1, could he be that? Yes. Like why can't a guy who was, either I think a lower round pick or a UDFA, made his way from San Fran to Seattle, started last year on the left side, was okay, then moved to the right side, was very, very good. Like just based on film, again, I don't give a shit about stats. He was very, very good last year. So do I think Reed could be a legitimate, mid-tier level number 1 starter in the league? I do. I really think he has the ability to be that. So if he is a number 1 who could legitimately play that and be even more than $11 million or worth even more than $11 million and Sauce Gardner develop, you're looking at a really good 1-2 punch. So Reed, again, I think his real rating should be like an 86. 85, 86 should be like his ranking. 78 is a little low for Reed to me. That's kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is. James D. D tackles need to be at least 315 to 340. I think that's kind of, you're covering a very large topic with a blanket. I think that's true for a 3-4 system. I think in a 4-3, you don't need to be 315, 340. You could be 305, 310 and play the run well. Like we all wanted, was it DJ Jones? DJ Jones was like 305, 310. Like you don't have to be that guy. You're thinking of the Snacks Harrisons, the Michael Pierces, the Chris Jenkins of the world with the Jets when they were, not with the Jets, but over the league, playing those 3-4 systems. They don't need necessarily that, but they just need a guy who's even at 305, 310, whose strength is run defense. So they don't need to be that. That's you're talking about nose tackle type stuff or Z tackle type stuff. So sneakers to boots. Once our D line and DBs complement and feed off of each other, get turnovers, get off on third down, it will change the entire game. Give Zach shorter fields to work with. Yeah, sneakers to boots. You're killing tonight. You're putting a lot of good comments, to be completely honest. With that, like, listen, how many times was Zach Wilson off the field for however long? Like the Colts, well, it wasn't Zach Wilson the Colts game, right? That was Mike White. But in general, like teams just drove it down our throats. They either scored the first drive or two right before half, right after half, and then you put Zach Wilson in a tough spot. No turnovers, behind the sticks, team scoring points in the Jets. And then you ask them as a rookie in certain games to be playing with guys like Tyreek Black and Jeff Smith. And that was versus the defending Super Bowl champions in the Tampa Bay Bucks, and he balled out that game. But yeah, you should get more sacks this year with more talent and health, and with better DB play. And like you said, both like people just view just pass rush, just corners. I would rather, and I say this all the time, I would rather have an average D line group and an average corner group than a great D line group and a bad corner group, or a great corner group and a bad D line group. Like they complement each other. So getting more talent, there should be more picks, there should be more sacks, there should be more forced fumbles, there should be more turnovers, like you said, and they should be able to get off the field on third down. How many times last year were the Jets in 3rd and 17? You're like, yeah, they're gonna fucking convert. Whether it be the Titans on a screen pass to Mick, who the fuck was it? Mick something. I don't know what his name was. Or the Falcons on a screen, or like whatever it was. So yeah, get off the field on third down, get some turnovers, and give Zach Wilson the shorter fields to work with, and don't have him running cold on the bench for fucking 10 minutes at sometimes, So sorry for it, but it's a strong point. Sneakers to boots, like that's a very good point. So you bring up a couple of good things. And my wife needs a husband with size. We all can't get. What kind of size? You're talking about like protective size? Like you're at the boardwalk and there's some like Guido guy trying to fight you, like that size, or like other important size. I'm talking about. Jets fans united. 3 listed safeties have been working with the linebackers. That tells me outside CJ, the linebacker room is hybrid safeties. They must not feel that they need to add because we are deep with potential. Three listed safeties have been working with linebackers. Well, the linebacker group is hybrid safeties because you have, not Quincy Williams, but past that, Sherwood, safety in college at Auburn. Obviously, Hamza at FSU was a safety. Was it Marcel Harris? I know his last name is Harris. I'm not sure what his first name is. I think it's Marcel. Marcel Harris from the 49ers, hybrid safety linebacker. They're deep with potential, but there's differences in potential. Is the potential of a guy who was signed $5-6 million on a contract or like a second, third round pick? That's different potential than what they have like in a 5th or 6th round pick from Hamza to Sherwood. Like, what is the chance that those guys could be starters or good role players? Maybe a guy who's drafted in the 2nd, 3rd round. Maybe if we drafted a Leo Chanel or a Muma or a guy like that, there's a higher level of potential to reach that ceiling. Where guys like Sherwood and Nasruddin, there's potential there, but what is the floor of those players as well? You have to adjust to that as well. And what is the chance they're going to hit that said ceiling or potential? So yeah, they're deep with the potential, sure, but I'm not relying on that potential. Nikki Free, would you rather have Quan or Dion? It depends. Is Dion going to get cut? Are they both signed for the same price? Because at Dion, I think you have to trade for him, and there's some money that come along with it. But all things being equal, off the top of my head, again, I could watch right now and have a completely different feeling. I could tell you Quan, watch both and say, oh, I'd much rather have Dion. Gun on my head. Right now, give me Dion. Like, let's say, hey, both of them signed for $4 million, 1 year, $4 million contract. I'm probably going to say Dion Jones. Less injuries, I believe. And I think probably higher upside, but I wouldn't go crazy for either one over the other. But yeah, gun to my head, Dion. Watching. Just watch and enjoy the year. You can see for yourself. We don't need Jeff Smith. No, we don't need Jeff Smith. No, you hope for better. Oh, we got another super chat. Let me move down to that. 852. Okay, let me remember that. I'll keep working through the chat. Abe Lab Studios, $20 super chat. Again, appreciate that a lot. Again, you guys are killing it with the 2 super chats. Just boom, $50, boom, $20. Thank you a lot, and even appreciate I think Girth Brooks for another one before too. Abe Lab, do you think Robert Saleh in caps will have a coaching leap this year? He has exhibited second-tier head coaching traits. Second-tier head coaching traits. Oh, wow. This is a hard question to answer. Like, what is his ceiling? Well, I would have to really look into how much Vrabel, what does he contribute? Like, is he the play caller? I know Harbaugh is more of an overseeing type of guy. This is really hard to quantify. Like what is the ceiling of a head coach? Because you can't watch film on him. Now, does he need to make leaps? Again, with the receiver rotation, with the D-line rotation, are they going to play hybrid fronts? Does his clock management get better? Does he get more aggressive in some situations? Do they let Zach Wilson do they get in 2nd and 2 and take a deep shot on a wave concept or a Seattle concept, which is basically just a sail concept with double post? Like, do they do that stuff, or are they running short dinky dunky stuff on 2nd and 2? Like, are they going to progress there? But also, how do you quantify that if it's the DC or the OC calling the plays because he's the oversight guy, like he is with the Ravens with Harbaugh? Like, how do you quantify that? Could he be a Harbaugh? Why not? Obviously Harbaugh has been coaching since mid early 2000s, probably mid 2000s now with the Ravens to late 20 or 2007, 8. He probably got a job, I would guess, top of my head, 15 years. Could he be that? Sure. Am I going to bet on him being one of the better coaches of the last 2 decades? Not necessarily, but could he? Yes. But yeah, I think he's going to improve, just like LaFleur improved, just like the team will improve. I think coaches year 1 and year 2 will take leaps. So yes, he should, but I'm not sure necessarily what you mean in terms of has he exhibited second-tier coaching traits? Because are you saying that Harbaugh and Vrabel are second-tier head coaches? I would argue they're actually very good head coaches. Like, Harbaugh is one of the better coaches in the league. Him, Tomlin, Belichick, Vrabel. I think that Brandon Staley with the Chargers could be upper tier coach in a couple of years. Like, will he take steps in the right direction? Like all coaching and their progression is not linear either. Look at the Bengals last year. Like, before the year, in 2020, going into the year, their head coach, I'm blanking on his name. Their head coach was talking about being fired. Like, he might have been fired, and now they went to the Super Bowl. So can guys improve from year 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 or 1 to 2? Yes. Do I think Saleh will do that? Yes. Do I think he is a great interviewer a great like motivator. The way he treats his guys. Is there a reason that guys like Reed or Whitehead or Uzama or Conklin come in and say that the feeling is different here? And again, I think we've heard that in the past when the Jets are, a team who's 3-13, 2016, 2017, 2013, 2014 with Izek and McCagnon. Guys are going to come here and say, yeah, it's a different culture. Did I buy it? No, it was bullshit. Do I really buy it now? Yes, I do. So I think he'll make a leap. Again, it's hard to quantify for me because, again, and really to explain it to you guys, but there's a chance. But that's a big part of that is also his coordinators as well. So good question. Really hard question to answer, to be completely honest. But I appreciate the super chat nonetheless. Let me scroll back up. I got to get through some of these questions. I'm going to do some lightning round stuff here because probably go until 10 tonight. Again, a little bit later. And again, my wife is doing some work. And I know my dog is being a pain in the ass because he definitely listens to me better than her. And I'll take the teeth and, freaking dogs, like especially puppies, like you got to hold their mouth closed or shove your fist into their mouth a little bit, tell them no. Unfortunately, she cannot do that as well as I can. So I do that. Tear the dog, run him out a little bit, make him tired. Let me see. Only issues is Sanders is going to be expensive. Sanders is not a 4 or 5. Alex Hunt, honestly, I probably agree with you. I think that Sanders coming to the Jets, if he was told, hey, you're going to be the 4th guy, let's sign you for $4 million, he's probably going to say, no, give me a 1-year deal. Or no, well, let's rephrase. I think Sanders would rather go to a team where he's going to be the 2 or the 3, not the 4 or the 5, to get more money in the future. Where the Jets, he's going to be pushed down the depth chart. You don't want him taking reps over Davis, Wilson, Moore, or even seeing targets over necessarily Conklin or Breece Hall or Michael Carter. So yeah, Sanders would come in here and be the 4, probably the 4. I would take him again to play more receiver and be better than Barrios. But past that, I'm taking at least Conklin over him and at least Hall and Carter. So it's not even like he's just coming here to be the 4 or the 5 4th or 5th receiver. He's going to be like the 6th or 7th target on the offense, which is not going to bear out well in terms of his future earnings. And if you're talking about like basing off the stats. So Harold H, is it me, Joe, or are people overlooking the fact the Jets did not sign a wide receiver? The Siggles Mims is a candidate for a significant role, in my opinion. Yeah, Harold, it could be that, or it could be the fact they're waiting for June 1st cuts and maybe a guy breaks free and they sign him. Let's see in August. Simply, let's see in August because maybe they want to see maybe another reason for this is, hey, there is a couple guys out there who we like, but let's give Mims a bunch of reps. Let's see if Mims wins that job. Maybe Mims doesn't take it, doesn't take the bull by the horns. And then they sign a guy. So maybe it could be that they're not penciling him in or penning him in to be that 4 or 5. Maybe it's penciled in and they got an eraser right next to him, and they're going to give him some time in training camp. So keep moving on. I don't think Joe D is done building a roster yet. Still a lot of cuts happen. Yeah, there's cuts to happen. I think at minimum he's going to sign a linebacker, tackle. I would almost guarantee he's going to sign 2 guys. Keep moving on. A Jets fan, I agree to the extent I don't want to rent talent, but if there is talent out there that we can put in the future, let's get it. Put into future, like even the future, like it doesn't future or now. Like, listen, I know people don't like they want to. The youth movement is real with the Jets. Like I would predict they're one of the 5 youngest teams in the NFL. Like even if you look at their projected starters next year. Like, look at how many guys are 27 or younger. Like Conklin, if he starts, obviously a lot of players on the offensive line, AVT, Becton, the running backs, the receivers are all pretty young. The defensive starters, your two corners are young. Your one safety is young. Quincy Williams is young. Your defensive line is young in terms, JFM is pretty young. Q is young. So they have a ton of youth. Now, with that being said, they can sign a guy who's listen, like right now, would I take KJ Wright, who's like 32 years old? Yes. Like you could sign some stopgap guys for just a year as well. Like signing a guy who's going to play like KJ Wright, bringing in KJ Wright is going to take some heat off of Mosley. And then maybe that KJ Wright even helps out the, Sherwoods, the Hamsas, the Quincy Williams of the world just to learn the defense. Like KJ Wright has been in this defense, obviously in Seattle. So let's bring in a KJ Wright. You could sign a guy who's 32 or 33. All the signings don't have to be here for the next 3 years. Sneakers to boots give Mims 3 years. Wide receivers take longer to develop, and he's had a run of bad luck. Best case scenario for him to show his ability to replace Davis. I think that ideally, yeah, you give him 3 years, but you at least give him 3 off seasons. Like at the point where it's August and he's not producing in mini camp, training camp, whatever. He's not doing well in the preseason, whatever it may be. However, they quantify that being in practicing him every day. Do you trade him at that point? Maybe. I think you give him at least three training camps. I could see him being traded in the offseason, though. So I'm not as committed to 3 full years, 3 full seasons, but we'll see what he does. I think Mims is just a slow learner, and that's the problem. Baylor, again, he ran fades, verticals, slants, and that's about it. Like that's pretty much what he ran. So yeah, it could take him longer and this system is difficult in terms of the route adjustments, the site adjustments that they have to run. Okay, this guy's playing off him now. I'm not going to run, a post. I'm going to run a comeback. I'm going to run 12-step comeback instead of a 15-yard post. There are adjustments like that to what they see in defense, and Mims not having a lot of routes run in college, maybe he's slower adjusted to that. You're right. So hopefully he balls out. I need to get that chain here. Shut off one more time. Sauce with the Frank's hot sauce, which I fucking love Frank's hot sauce. I probably had thousands of bottles in my life, to be completely honest. So let's keep moving on. I see another super chat, which I'm going to get to right now. 8:57. Let me go back. I am going to have to fly through the rest of this. Buffalo Jets fan, go check him out. I know he did an interview with me. I think he had Tyson on there, maybe he had Jets Talk 24/7 as well, but up and coming Jets YouTube channel. So make sure to go check him out. Again, I was on there like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago ish. But $5, appreciate that a lot. Need to sign a backup for CJ Sherwood playing the Mike at 215. Will get us cooked in the run game. KJ Wright, AJ Klein, Joe Sherbert. Yeah, and listen, I'd have to look into each one of those names individually. And then there's the guy, is Anthony Johnson. Is he still available from the Broncos? But he was a decent guy. But yeah, KJ Klein, again, we'd look into him, Joe Sherbert. I'm cool with whoever they decided to sign. Obviously, I'd have a preference if I watched the film individually in each guy. But not even a backup, like a starter. Like, could KJ Wright be better this year than a Quincy Williams? Yes, he could be. Now, again, how do they view that in terms of long-term development? Because the Jets, I think, took some leaps or took some lumps last year in terms of, okay, you had some youth at linebacker, you had some youth at safety, you had some youth at corner. How much, or they took some lumps to develop that youth. But now this year that you want to compete, maybe you bring in a guy like KJ Wright, who was 31, 32 years old, because you're expecting to maybe best case scenario, you get 9-10 wins, you make the wild card. Like last year, yeah, they knew they're going to take some lumps. Let's get some youth, some development. This year, bring in some guys. So not even a backup Buffalo Jets fan, like a starter. The Browns go 13 heavy personnel. Week 2. Do you want Sherwood and Hamza in there, or Irving Quincy Williams as the 2? I'm not necessarily comfortable with it. And to me, Sherwood playing the mic at 215. Yeah, he's light. 1. And you're going to get my honest opinions. 1, he's light. 2, he is not a good athlete. Even at safety, safety NFL. He's a terrible athlete. Linebacker in the NFL, he's not a plus athlete. He at the very best is an average athlete at linebacker in the NFL. He is slow for linebacker. The only thing that would make him average is length, and maybe some power for his size. But other than that, he's pretty slow. Just towards Achilles, that's what we're going to rely on to be the 3 or the 4. Not me. No way. So I agree with you. They got to bring in somebody. Got to. So whether it be KJ, AJ Klein, Joe Sherbert, Deion Jones, like Quan, there's got to be somebody out there that they're going to bring in. That's just the linebacker core is so thin right now. So let me keep moving on. But I appreciate the super chat, Buffalo Jets fan. No need to do that. Or either way, I'm cool. I'm definitely cool with you guys giving me money. That's always fun. Regarding Mims last year, have you done a deep dive into what went wrong with him in the times he played? So Nicky Free, yes. The thing is, after watching thousands of reps, sometimes you do forget. And in terms of you seeing me talk about him in depth, I would probably do that. I definitely did that, but it was just in each individual game review, because I do the film for each game. Can be anywhere from 40 to 80 plays that I review, and I definitely did it during those games. So let's keep moving on. But yes, I individually in each game I did a deep dive, but I didn't just watch him solo yet. Hawk go buy a Sauce jersey? Yes, you should do that. Again, Sauce jersey with the sauce on the back. I don't know, you can't see it right there. Let's see. See it right there. With the Sauce necklace with the hot sauce. Again, fucking around. Do not think I think he's gonna be the best corner in the league, but I like to have fun, and you should like to have fun too. So unless you're just a miserable prick. Either way, I appreciate the view and the likes. Hopefully you don't dislike it. I know stats aren't everything, but could you see someone getting 1,000 yards receiving or rushing this year? I could see Brees Hall getting 1,000 yards this year if he's healthy, to be completely honest. I could see him being like 1,000 yards rushing, and maybe Michael Carter getting 500, 600. I could easily see that. And depending on injuries too, like if Davis goes down, if Wilson goes down, if Carter goes down, these guys are going to be relied on more. So that's obviously can I predict injuries? Obviously, if Carter goes down, yeah, you're going to expect Brees Hall, instead of seeing 50% of the snaps, maybe he sees 60. Maybe more, all things being equal, sees 70% of the reps, 65% of the reps. But if Davis goes down, maybe they get jacked up to 80%. So injuries are a big part of stats to me. But I could see Brees Hall getting that. I would say if I had to bet one guy, obviously I wouldn't bet Wilson. I wouldn't bet Davis. I could see Elijah Moore being healthy for 16 games, getting 1,000 yards. And I in those 6 games where he was really, really good, I think he was on pace to 1,300, 1,400 yards, something like that. Maybe a little bit less. Again, I'm not great with the numbers, but definitely over 1,000 yards. I could see Moore doing it. And I could see Brees Hall doing it. Would I bet on it? I know stats aren't everything, but could you see? See, yes. Bet, maybe. I would say out of everybody, I would say Elijah Moore 1,000 yards probably would be the one, if I had to bet, I would do. So keep moving on. Cam Clark's career is over, right? Old question. Yeah, it's over, which is unfortunate because I really liked him at North Carolina. Joe Myles Garrett gave Becton problems, but Cleveland Farrell didn't really do that much. He had most of his pressure on stunts, miscommunication, 2 sacks over. Were 2 of the sacks on stunts though? Because there was the one rep where he just beat him very, very straight up, just solo, and he destroyed Becton on that play. So, with that being said, yeah, but you still have to be able to pick up stunts and twist, and you could be a better stunter and twister depending on how deep you set, how you lag the guard or the penetrator. There are so many different things in terms of how effective you are on those. So if you can't handle it because of how Cleveland Farrell was playing it, then yes, he still got beat by him. Maybe not solo on some of those plays, but he still did get beat. He definitely got beat by Farrell at least 2 or 3 times, just solo straight up. I like Fant at left tackle because he's less good at right tackle. True. But if Becton wins the left tackle job, it means he's all the way back. Yeah, or at least they have quite a bit of faith in him being all the way back. So yeah, to me, that's a part of it. I think Becton can just, and it's a good point, Richter. I think Becton could be just as good of a right tackle as a left tackle, where with Fant being left tackle versus right tackle, I think Fant is not as good of a right tackle as a left tackle. So I think for your best case scenario is, yeah, the young guy wins and is at left tackle, but for the best offensive line, I think Becton right tackle, Fant left tackle would be the best. But long term, you want Becton to be that stud left tackle that you sign again, and he's here for 10 years. But yeah, good point. Smash the button, appreciate that. 118 people in here. Smash it, appreciate that. Have you had the chance to watch any of Michael Clemens? If so, what's your so yeah, just the tiniest bit. Joshua, obviously, like I said, I'm doing Rucker and Wilson right now. But with him, listen, people say he's a freak athlete. He's not a freak athlete. He doesn't have freak bend. He doesn't have freaky hip movement. He doesn't, he definitely is more boxy. He has really good aggression. He has really good length. He has a good bull rush. He needs to work on his leverage a little bit more. But he's kind of he plays like a bat out of hell a little bit. So I think he needs to chill out in terms of playing a run at times. But a guy who's uber physical, good in a straight line, aggressive, but a guy who's not the most twitchy edge bender type guy. And he's not good in that area. So people say he's a freak athlete. He's not a freak athlete. He's not. But he is a silent killer. I don't know if we're talking about. Let's see. I think we win against Green Bay and lose to the Lions. And Hawk, people might think you're crazy for saying that. Lose to the Lions. There's always a game you win that you don't expect, and there's always a game you lose that you don't expect. So I think they would both fit that mold. Now would I bet on the Jets beating the Lions? Yeah, but could I see them losing? Sure. Keep moving on here. Cincinnati spanked Baltimore twice last season, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they spanked them. They might have beat them twice, but Baltimore also had a lot of injuries. Rich DeBoe, Joey the Man. I would say Rich is in the top 5 to 10 supporters of the show. Consistently throwing good comments and saying, even like other streams, I did other streams and Rich will comment and be like, "Oh, dude, love the content." So appreciate that, Rich. You massive supporter, and I appreciate that a lot. Ashton Davis had 2 picks against Tua. Lol. Yeah, exactly. So are we asking Tua against or how Ashton Davis is? Because Ashton Davis is kind of ass. Just because you get a pick against Tua doesn't mean you're great. Even like, okay, should we ask Tom Brady about Antonio Allen? Antonio Allen picked 6th him. She should be a starting safety. Love me some MC2. Yep. Terp, why do so many Jets fans think that they are beating Baltimore because it's the first game? I mean, seriously, that's why. Insane. I think people are – there's a few ways to look at it. Week 1 is the most unpredictable week in the NFL. That's probably the biggest part of it. And some teams start slow. Teams, and especially the COVID year, teams can get – it takes them a year or two – or not a year or two, a game or 2 or 3 to get the ball rolling. Now, obviously, with more continuity, that's going to be lessened for some teams, but week 1 is the most unpredictable week of the year. So I think that's probably the biggest reason, to be completely honest. So salute Joe, salute Rob V. Appreciate you being in here. But yeah, anybody can win week 1. And listen, if I told you last year the Jets were going to beat the Bengals, you'd think I was crazy, most likely. But now if I told you, hey, they added Hull, they added, Tomlinson, they added Uzama, they added Conklin, they added Reed, they added Sauce. Why can't we beat the fucking Baltimore Ravens? They're not a juggernaut. Now, did I predict them to lose in my schedule prediction? Yes, I did. But I would love for them to win, obviously. So, Joe, can you stop saying balls to the wall? I think that's the first time I said balls to the wall this stream so far, Eagles. So that's your fault. Carter the second could be a dark horse this year. Yeah, I like him. I would say I'm probably higher on Carter the second, Reed, Conklin, than general fans. I think people are probably higher than me, and maybe Davis at this point too, Corey Davis. I think people generally, like from fan opinion on Twitter that I see, are probably a little bit higher on Whitehead, Lakin Tomlinson, Uzama than I am, but that's fine. That's fine. I answer this a lot, but what do you think about Jamin Sherwood and Nasruddin? I think if either one of those is a depth role player, then you won with a 5th or 6th round pick. I think Hamza has the more physical upside, and I would bet on him succeeding more than Sherwood. I think Sherwood was a bad safety or a bad athlete at safety in college. I think he's at best average athlete at linebacker in the NFL. To be completely honest, I think he's a bad athlete at linebacker in the NFL. I think Hamza has the ability to be a pretty solid athlete at linebacker, so I would bet on Hamza, but I'm not betting on either one of those to be a starter. No way. Moving on. ESPN scripted garbage. Yes. Jeff Gladney killed at 25. Yeah, TCU corner, right? Sad. He had like, and again, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think he had like some domestic stuff too. Career was kind of going like up and down. I think he's a 1st round pick too. Obviously, it's sad though. 25 years old. Sucks, man. What are the odds Moore and Wilson become a top 5 to 10 duo in the next couple of years? Oh Jesus, GB 515. That is a loaded question because I have to go through all of the duos because you look at the Vikings like Jefferson, but they have Thielen. In the next couple of years, if Thielen gone, probably we have to go to the Bengals. They have T. Higgins, they have Jamar Chase. That's a really good duo. Like we have to really look at the duos, but the odds. That's really hard. That's a really hard question. I would probably bet on the field, to be completely honest, because I think Wilson could be a number 1. Would I bet on Wilson being a number 1? I don't know. But you'd have to have pretty much 2 number 1s, 2 legit, however you quantify number 1s to be a top 5 to 10 duo, because there are teams with 2 stacked. Like look at the Bucks, Godwin and Evans. Look again, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Like they are top 5, probably not 10. I think it's possible, but I would bet on the field. I think Moore could be that. Wilson, I think he has really good movement skills, but that's really hard to be a top 5, 10 duo, especially now with how many good receivers are coming out. So Michael Carter, running back, is one of my favorite Jets picks the past 10 years. Play aside, this guy's an automatic culture boost. MB99 couldn't agree more with you. I think I said on Twitter the other day, like I think he's a better player than Powell. I think he will be a better player than Powell, but in terms of what he means to Jets fans, in terms of like the culture, the locker room, how friendly he is, how comfortable he make. Like I think it just came out that he called Brees Hall as soon as he was drafted. Like, hey, listen, split backfield, let's do it. Like let's blow out together. Like he is a great locker room guy. Mike Carter already is one of my favorite Jets. You know, those guys who are maybe never going to be Dalvin Cooks or like Jericho, like the Jericho Kochers of the world, the Powells of the world, like those guys who are maybe lesser players but great Jets. Like he's a great Jet. Even like David Harris, great Jet, not the best linebacker ever. So let's keep moving on. Britt Marion, Barber too. Yeah, sad. Jets scouting team. Alonzo Dotson was an area scout. I'm saying you should apply for opening. People said like I would at the bare minimum would I, and this is I would love this, like a job. Obviously that's a reach. Would I really like to send my reviews to some of those guys in the front office and have them check it out and just give me their honest opinions? I would love that at the minimum. Like just be able to sit down with them and like talk, and I would say I learn a lot from those guys. But like, hey, bring you in as a lower tier. Like depends on. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Maybe all Jets won't be top 10 anything. Dolphins are at. Okay. Top 10 anything. Running back duo. If you're talking about just I think if I had to bet on again, however you quantify it, like position groups, the Jets can have top 10. I think the Jets have a top 10 running back duo. I think they could have a top 10 defensive line. I think they could have a top 10 cornerback duo. Dolphins have definitely have a better cornerback, obviously with Howard there, but won't. I would say I would take that bet. I think that they will have one of corners, running backs, or defensive line be top 10. I would bet a lot of money on that actually. So, oh yes, Bill Tyler. I thought you were talking about Josh Doctson, like the receiver, but yes, you are right. You are right. I remember seeing that. Smash you. I think when I did the schedule, I said 9 and 8, but gun to my head, I'm picking 8 and 9. That's my record prediction. Hard AFC, hard. Listen, the Dolphins minus the quarterback, they have some talent, they have some good D linemen, they have some good corners. They have obviously weapons with Waddle, with Hill. The Bills, the class of the AFC at this point. They're playing the AFC North. Like they have a hard schedule. So 8 and 9. 8 and 9. I think anything from 7 to 9 wins is what I'm hoping for. 6 wins is the absolute floor. 7 is really my floor, but 6, anything lower than that is somebody's getting fired. Not Douglas or Saleh maybe, but coordinator's going. I probably Ulbrich. But 7 wins is my real floor where I'll be like, okay, 7 wins depending on how it is. If it's 7 wins and the defense is carrying us, I'm not as happy. If the defense has its lumps because of an injury at safety, the linebackers are struggling to cover screens, but Zach Wilson's playing well, okay, I'll take that 7 wins. To your point, Zach, and the offense were rolling in the first half against the Eagles. In the third quarter, the offense barely saw on the field. Yeah, because the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. Kevin, what's up? Kevin who? Oh, I just went down. Hold on. I went way too far up in the chat. Way too far up. Okay. Mims might be I'm not sure to say that word, kinesthetic learner who was sick at the wrong time. Now he's a year to practice playbook. Many people learn that way. Again, yeah, I think you're being positive, Jeremy. If I just told you and it's the benefit of you having insight onto this, but if I just told you, hey, the Cardinals had a guy who had 8 catches, no touchdowns in 2 years. What is his chances of being a good wide receiver? You probably say very minimal. So is there a chance? Yes. Do we have more information and why that may be more of a chance in some other spots? Sure. Am I betting on Mims to be a legitimate role player, a legitimate contributor to the Jets if I had a gun to my head? No. Say. We get number 4 shot at waivers. We'll get a linebacker. Edward Ziff says, yeah, they should. They really should. Whether it be a guy who's cut, whether it be Quan, whether it be Deion Jones, bring in 2 linebackers. Bring in 2. Why 1? I'm not comfortable with the 2, the 3, the 4. Why not bring in a 2 and a 3? Bring in KJ Wright and Quan. I don't give a shit. That would be a massive upgrade to this team, in my opinion. Even if not on the field at times, in the locker room. The ball is going to be spread around with new toys. We have 1,000 yards might be a bit much for one player. Yeah, I agree. Angle. I would say again, Elijah Moore if I had one bet, but the fact that you have a bunch of guys between Carter and Hall and Uzama and Conklin and all the guys I talked about, and that's not including the receivers, it should be spread around plenty. So if it'll be tough. Yes, Moore's 6-game peak would equal 1304 yards over 17 games. So I was right. I said 1314. But now again, you're bringing in Hall, you brought in Uzama, you brought in Conklin, and healthy Corey Davis, second year in the system, Wilson. So will he see as many targets as he did at that point in the 2021 season? Maybe not. Benoit, I don't see anything attached to your $5 super chat, but nonetheless, I appreciate it. Sup, Jeremy? We got some talk here. Jeremy, you should appreciate the sauce chain because there's a bottle of hot sauce. I know you're a big hot sauce guy. There's a lot of good hot sauce out there, but generic. If you're going French Red Hot or what is it? Is it the Cholula sauce? Solid generic sauces. Yoshi says, "Hey Joe, I want to get your opinion on something. Sometimes when I see Garrett Wilson gear down into his route and make a cut, it looks like he's going to stumble under his own feet. Do you see the same?" Yoshi, you did not watch the Garrett Wilson review. I know you didn't, because if you did, you'd know that I said that 3 months ago. The thing with Garrett Wilson, and even in the practice videos I put up today, and you're going to see it when I do it with Marcus Coleman, he overstrides into his stop steps, which you really need to have your body into your stop steps, really, really coiled into it, low, like you're basically trying to knee yourself in the chest, and you need to commit fully to them, and they need to be a little bit shorter than they are with him. Like he completely lunges and he completely opens up his gate as wide as he can, which leads to you falling over your toe. And you're falling over your toe and you're trying to get out of your break, you're going to be off balance. You're going to fall out of that break. So he needs to commit more to his stop steps and leaning out of breaks. And him leaning and not committing to stop steps is why he's falling down. So 1,000% said that in the review. I'm 1,000% going to show that in the review. Actually, hold on, let me just. I think I actually. I'm not going to break it down because that's for the film show. But I think I actually did that. I think that's in break. Let me see. Let me see if I can just share that really quickly. Share screen. You're talking about exactly this because I think this is where I talked about it. I think he's top of the screen right here. Let me see if this is the right thing. Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about that stride. So you obviously have you have him breaking vertical right here. He's trying to get on the corner's toes. Great. Now with the stop step, he's going right here. 1, stop, break is that third step. So you have stop step with the right, break step with the left, drive step, line step. So those are the order of the steps right there. But the stop step, you want to be real. You want to shorten it because you see how he's lunging into it. You see that step right there? He's lunging. You see that that leads to him falling over that toe, where you really want to get down and sink more into it. You see how he's kind of straight up. You want to see that chest into that knee. Why can't that chest get into that knee? Because he's overstriding. So there's things that we get into in the film show with that, and that I did get into, and then I will get into with Marcus Coleman. The little technicalities of route running, and talks about stop steps, drive steps, differences between when you should run a speed out versus a square cut out, like all that type of deal. So yes, go watch the full review. Vinoid, thank you for a great job. What would you rate the biggest needs, linebacker, safety, D tackle, receiver? So I said that in the beginning. I'll go over it again really quickly because you asked, and I appreciate the compliment. Number one to me, again, I think all things being equal, linebacker is the biggest need. But for me right now, you're telling me you can only sign one thing on the team. Tackle number one need, linebacker number 2, run stuffing defensive tackle number 3, number 4 is safety, number 5 is depth receiver. That's how I would go. Garrett Wilson makes for an excellent finesse athletic piece to the wide receiver core, similar to Moore. Do you feel that Drake London would have been a better fit to the? Yeah, to be complete, I'm not gonna backtrack just because we drafted Garrett Wilson. I liked Drake London more, and I think Drake London adds that true 50-50 ball guy, a good yak guy, a blocker. Like the thing with this offense that people don't like really think about, it's kind of more of like a secondary topic, is with how many tight and monster splits this offense has, where you're going to have a lot of receivers really close to the in the box. A lot of these receivers on crack tosses zones are going to be involved in the blocking game. So to have a guy like a Mims or like a Drake London, if we drafted him as a blocker, Now that allows you to run 11 personnel, but with guys who can block, where you're going to get lighter personnel, and now that brings out their nickel, their dime look, and now you're going to have Mims blocking a safety instead of a linebacker, and they can run on that. So I think I would, if you, again, right now, you told me, hey, Drake London over Wilson, who would you rather have for the Jets? I would take Drake London, but that's fine. It is what it is. He was drafted before the Jets, and I said he was a number one receiver in the draft. He got drafted as number one receiver on the Jets, but I still like Wilson. So keep moving on. Remember when Marcus Williams snagged 6 picks in 2015? Yeah, exactly. We're asking people about how good Marcus Williams is. I'm not trying to shit on whoever said that, but just because a guy got a pick doesn't mean he's good. Square Peg, sub show, hate here late, gonna go watch from the beginning. Appreciate that. You mean Marcus Williams, the guy that got drafted? No, he's talking about Marcus Williams, the corner, Stephen Engel, right? That is Marcus Williams. He wore 20 for the Jets, right? But he didn't wear 20 the whole time. He was a different number at the start. Or am I wrong? I think you're talking about Laken Tomlinson going to fit right in with y'all going to – I got a beast. He did wonders when he was here in San Fran. Oh, I got a San Fran fan. Yeah. I think listen, at the minimum, he's going to be a plus guard. Do I expect him to be a Pro Bowler? Again, however you quantify Pro Bowler, how good does that actually make him? Probably not. Do I think that some fans think he's a top 5 guard, a top 5 left guard, right guard, whatever it may? Oh, he's going to be a left guard. But do I think there are fans out there who think he's top 5? Yes, I do. Do I think he's more realistically in that 8 to 12 range of guards as left guard? Yes, but that's what you're going to pay in free agency for that guy. I think he's solid. He knows the system, so that's a benefit to him being signed here. And listen, if you're going to sign a guy who's used to running power and traps and all this stuff, it's not going to be as clean of a transition. So you might not offer him as much money. Where Laken Tomlinson's coming from the same system, so it's an easy fit. So I don't think he's a slam dunk guy, but am I willing to pay him what he got to be a very solid starting guard? Yeah, I think that's what he is. Balls to the wall from Girth Brooks. So I had to say it again, Eagle, because appreciate the super chat. Girth Brooks, that's great. What number was he? We talking about Jets had their Marcus Williams at safety, ironically. No, he was a corner. He was a corner, Yoshi. He wasn't a safety. Maybe he might have played some safety reps, but he was primarily a corner for the Jets. He was 20, right? Was it 20? Am I wrong? I don't know. Snacks. Great job as always, Joe. Appreciate that. Those fingers of boots. Hall can Hall be a top 10 running back in the league this year? I think a lot of those running backs have that year 2 glow up. Like Cook was good. Again, I'm not. Don't quote me on this, but a lot of guys take that. There's definitely some guys who are money their first year, because there's running back is probably the least hard to transition to position as a starter in the NFL from college to the pro game. So there were guys who just kill it year 1, but the Cooks and the Kamaras and the Henrys, all these guys really take that large leap year 2 or 3. But so again, would I take the field over him being a top 10 running back this year? Probably. Do I think by year 2, 3 he's the top 10 running back in the league? I do. I think he'll be there. You'll have that new you'll see the guys like McCaffrey fall out, and eventually Kamara in the next couple of years, the Henrys, which Henry is a monster. How long is he going to go for? But next 2-3 years, I think Hall will be top 10. This year, no. Williams, Wilson, that's fine. Williams, I think, is less of a I think he's a little bit overrated at times too. He's a body catcher. I don't think he's the best in square cuts and intermediate routes. I think he's a good deep threat. But Chrono Kenny, Wilson or Olave, Joe, I kind of like Olave better. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of people who love Olave, and I watched 6. So initially I did a review on Wilson. I did 5 games of him. And then did the review, and I watched Ruckert and Olave kind of in passing. And then I watched those 5 games again and just watched Ruckert the entire time. And then I watched another game of those guys both together because I'm doing both the reviews. Watching Olave at 6 games in passing, I'm not overly impressed. I don't think he gets out of breaks the best. I don't think he's the biggest. I don't think he's the best against press. He double catches a lot of body catching. So I'm not the biggest on Olave. I like Wilson more. I think Olave in a good receiver draft is more of a late first round guy, early second round guy. I think that's his real value. I think that he got pushed up to 11 this year, right? 11, because it wasn't the strongest receiver draft. And what happened? You had Drake London go 8. Then you had Wilson, and teams might have been sitting there at 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, whatever it was, and say, oh shit, receiver run coming, boom, take a guy. So I think the receiver position this year was not as strong as years past with the CeeDee Lambs and Judys and Devontae Smiths and Waddles and Jamar Chases of the world. So you're going to get some elevations of those guys. But nonetheless, I like Wilson better than Olave. Hey, Joe, is there a player you totally pegged wrong when evaluating them? Yeah. To be completely honest, like guys who I have really strong opinions on, I think I've hit more than I've missed for sure, which I think is a positive. Guys like Andrew Thomas and whoever out there. I would say my biggest miss so far in terms of what they're developing into in the league, which it's hard to again, I use quantify a lot, but it's hard to quantify development and what defensive line they're going to or what defensive line coach are going to coach them, because you can have a multiple ball of clay, go to the wrong coaching staff and suck ass. You can have them go to the right team and be really good. So where are they going? To me, I would say my biggest miss is probably Rashawn Gary. I really didn't like him a lot at all, and I think he's becoming one of the better young edge rushers in the league. That was a lot of because of how raw he was as a pass rusher, but I didn't put as much as I probably should have in terms of his athleticism, what he could be. Being a 5-star recruit, having athleticism that he does, which obviously you're going to adjust on your hits and misses every year, and then you're going to put more value in one strength or weakness or view on a guy, whether it be rawness or coaching or tree he came from, whatever. There's always adjustments, but I would say I hit more than I miss. Like, George Fant and guys like Dortch and, Bless Austin and, plenty of draft guys. Drake London say we go first. I said Jermaine Johnson was a late first round guy. He went late first. Plenty of stuff. Aquanu from the jump. Like, there are people early on, Neil. I was on Aquanu. I think Aquanu was gonna be better than Neil. I said Neil. I think Neil would be OT5 in the draft. We got Becton. I don't think Neil's gonna be great, but it is what it is. So hit more than I missed. But yeah, there's guys who I will miss on. Chrono Kenny, not that I dislike Wilson. I am very happy with the pick. I think his ceiling is higher than Olave, but so I don't think so. Yeah, I don't agree with you there either. I think Olave his ceiling is a good number 2 deep threat, to be completely honest. Where Wilson, he has the movement skills to be like Wilson has a large gap between his floor and ceiling. I don't think he's a high floor, high ceiling type player. He has a lot of development in terms of his route running, in terms of getting off of press, things like that. But he has a ceiling of that number 1. Olave is a deep threat number 2 to me. So I definitely am taking Wilson's ceiling over Olave's Chrono Kenny. Not just trying to disagree. It's not just my opinion. I felt the same about Drake London. Good breakdown of how his pros would have contributed to the wide receiver core and plays, but Wilson is solid too. Yeah, true. London, his good blocker, good yak guy. He's a good route runner. I put up plenty of plays of him on the stream. If you're gonna tell me he's a bad route runner right now, you're wrong. If you're telling me Rick London's a bad route runner, it's because you heard he gets contested balls and he's not the most athletic guy. True. Okay, fine. But if you're saying he's a bad route runner in terms of technically, you're wrong. You're wrong straight up. You're just not right. There's a lot of conversations where I'll hear you out. Drake London being a bad route runner, you're flat out wrong. And I will never agree with you. I don't care. I don't give a fuck if it's nobody on Twitter, Doozable, Dan Orlovsky, anybody. You say he's a bad route runner, you're wrong to me. And I think you could prove it pretty easily. And anybody who knows receiver position or knows how to break it down, you're not going to say that. You either one, don't know what you're talking about, you're being lazy, or like the bigger guys out there, you're skating on your reputation and not what you're actually watching. You're just saying things to say things because you don't have the time to watch it, which is bullshit to me. Who's your favorite under the radar Jet of all time? Mine was Victor Green. Under the radar Jet. So I really started watching the Jets hardcore in the mid 2000s. So under the radar, again, how do you quantify? Bilal Powell's up there. Jericho Cotchery's up there. Jim Leonard is up there. I'll probably say, honestly, another one is Chris Ivory. I love Chris Ivory. He was here. He played with a bunch of shit offensive lines, and he was always really good. So yeah, Ivory, Powell, Cotchery, Jeremy Curley, to be completely honest. I think he was a guy who always should have been like a slot number 3 receiver, and the Jets sucked so much ass when he was here in terms of roster building, and he was forced into being a number 1, which kind of miscast him. So yeah, some of those guys. There's some I'm definitely missing. Justin Miller. I always like Justin Miller. Leon Washington, another really, really good player, who I think was I think a lot of people have respect for him too, but I really liked him. The Highlander Prime Williams tape did show him to be mostly body catcher, but after reviewing his tape and plays, I think Wilson is probably the better all-around athlete and a true hands catcher. I think Wilson has the ability to be the better all-around player than Wilson, but does he have that elite trait that Wilson has? Like Wilson's elite trait is that speed and him getting vertical, where Wilson's may be his yak ability and his ability to get the jump ball at a smaller size. Like he's 6 foot, but he can get balls like he's like 6'2" sometimes because of his leap ability and his ability to get the ball outside of his frame. So I hate pro comps. I really, really do. But I think he has the same. This is all I'm going to give you because I hate pro comps. This is again, I'll say it slowly. I think his movement skills are Odell Beckham like. I think he has explosive movement and jumping ability and the ability to get out of routes like Odell. Now, does he get technically refined as Odell was when he's still good, but he needs to follow it up with technicality, getting off a press. Wilson struggles right now in terms of committing to those break steps, stop steps, drive steps, all that stuff in terms of his route running. He's a really good intermediate to vertical route runner. Now, in terms of short getting off a press, he needs to work at getting off a press. If people say, "Oh, he's great at getting off a press," he has a capability of being great getting off a press. He's not great at getting off a press technically right now. I think early on he's more of a slot guy. I think Elijah Moore, Davis are more outside guys, where Garrett Wilson is the inside guy. But with that being said, that's more thinking about it like just on a flat line level base sets, because with the Jets running a lot of their tight splits, bunch sets, quads, all that stuff, that forces defensive backs to play off because they don't want to get they don't want to bang during the play. So with the Jets doing a lot of tight splits and all that stuff, slot X, all that stuff, like there's going to be some room for them. So that will diminish or lessen him having to play true slot. But with that being said, ideally he is not facing corners who are going to press him nonetheless. So Brandon McNeely, I'm afraid Wilson may end up being the best Devin. No. That's all I'm gonna say. No. If only Quincy said, yeah, Yoshi, you have Twitter? I just put up, dude, Quincy, you're talking about Quincy Enunwa. Like he would be such a good fit for this offense. Such a good fit. H-back, receiver, who could run the shit out of the ball, aggressive as hell as a blocker. I wish. Let's see. Do you think Mims will do enough so he could? No. I think the better question is, will Mims do enough to stay on the team the entire year? That's the question. To cut CD, a guy who we signed to be a number one or number two? No way. And I think the question is Mims / plus Garrett Wilson. That's a question. Mims straight up no. GB15, I am super high on Garrett Wilson, but I am admittedly biased. I've been watching him since the high school days at Lake Travis. He has the capability to be very good. Will he be? I don't know. I appreciate you guys. I know I'm ending a little bit earlier. Again, puppy, got to take care of him a little bit. Wife's doing some work. Usually do 3 hours. I did it 4 hours last time I was solo. But again, with the extra responsibility, 2 hours. And obviously with lesser topics this off season, I'm going to be dropping off, 2 hours instead of 3 hours sometimes. I'll do 3 hours plenty. But when you get through a couple more chats, drop anything else quickly have in there. I'm going to answer them lightning round. But let me see. Quincy could have been Debo before Debo. I think he was like Debo light. Like, listen, people forget about some plays. Like the Browns play, the Dolphins play, the play against New England in the red zone. Some of the plays against the Bills, like that Thursday. Was it a home opener? The Bills home opener? Like he made some plays. Quincy. I think he was like Debo light, not Debo light. Like been a top 3 receiver for the Jets. This like if you went back in history and took a 25-year-old healthy Quincy Enunwa, could you put him in this offense to be a top 3 receiver? Like let's say right now it was Wilson, Moore, and Quincy, or Quincy, Elijah Moore, and Corey Davis, and you don't draft a receiver if he was healthy. Fuck yeah, I would love Quincy Enunwa right now in this offense. Yoshi, yes, we post on Twitter. Happy belated birthday to the beast of a man. Unfortunately, his gift became a curse. Yeah. Who's man up on opposing tight end third down? What are your thoughts on Bryce Hall coming in for the situations that are dime back, especially if flexed out? I think that could happen. Now how much, maybe 10, 15%, 20%. Like he's not going to be playing. And I think that's too high of a percentage, but could I see some sets where Bryce Hall, whether it be a tight end, maybe again, whoever they're playing this year, like last year, like a Waller, like whoever it may be, Dawson Knox, could I see him matching up some players or like Mike Gesicki? Yes. Could I see him maybe against the Bills playing outside on Gabe Davis if it's a man coverage look? Third down, hey, we know we want to run man. Okay, you have Reed versus Diggs. You have Bryce Hall versus Gabe Davis or Dawson Knox, and then you have Sauce on Gabe Davis, and he plays Knox, or Sauce doubles the number 2. Like, it could happen for sure. He's going to see some reps and some odd looks. Maybe there's some reps where it's not going to happen a lot, but where Reed is the slot because the slot is a primary guy in a man coverage look. Okay, he can play the slot. He will be primarily outside, but is there going to be some plays where you can flex him into the slot and play Hall on the outside? Sure. Is there going to be some reps where you get Hall into the slot because there's a big slot and maybe you have Michael Carter flex to free safety? Yeah, there's going to be some reps of that. A lot? No. Respect. Appreciate that. Garth Brooks. Yoshi, the Lions play week 1. His play against the Ravens. Great show. Appreciate that. Okay. Again, recording Bryce Hall tomorrow. Marcus Coleman will be on the next show after that doing Garrett Wilson, then Jeremy Ruckert, and then I'm going to get into Clemens, Mitchell, and then we're going to go into Laken Tomlinson, DJ Reed with Coleman again. Then we'll do Whitehead, we'll do Conklin, do all those guys. Appreciate you guys for being here. I will see you soon. Go Rangers for the people who are respectful Rangers fans out there who are not Knicks fans because fuck the Knicks. I don't know if they're even winning right now. Go Mets. Yankees doing well too. So appreciate you guys. Really quick. Is Hall QB? No, it will be Sauce. See you guys soon.